Welcome to Fire Breathing Kittens, an actual play podcast. Every week, we bring you a different tabletop role-playing game one-shot adventure that you can listen to in any order you like. This week, we are playing the amazing, fantastic Good Society tabletop role-playing game. Good Society is a GM-less game with a facilitator, so I didn't have to prep anything for today. I love it. I'm going to play this anytime we have a sudden game where we need a filling, and we are doing that today. We are joined by 4 players. I'm going to ask everybody except for Zidane's player to take their headphones off. I'll wave you back in with your, this thing. Smacks mic. That one. That hand gesture. All right. Hey, Zidane. You're playing the socialite character role sheet today. What is your goal for Zidane this session?
Well, I think that my goal today is to try and either just figure out a way to get acquainted with what I used to be, or just finally maybe move on and start a new life.
That's right. 200 years ago, you were frozen in time because of a little bit of a dispute at the Gladiator's Ring. Yes.
Correct.
Yes. What is your inner conflict?
Well, the inner conflict is learning about my past. I've been told snippets of it, trying to piece it together what it was. Apparently, I was married at one point. That was a bit of a soul shocker there. And then also just determining if it's even worth looking into it and just moving on and not bothering with it anymore.
Yeah, after 200 years, the wife's probably... cough. So, you're also playing some other characters. What is Erebus Altheim's goal for this session, and the farmer who discovered Mary and took her in like his own daughter?
Well, I think the goal for Erebus is he wants to help Mary out, but I don't think I'm very sure on how to accomplish those goals. But I'm doing the best I can to get her home safely, but I'm not sure I know how to.
Yes. And you're playing Merriweather Jones, the pickpocket from the Lookalike Gang, where they're all recruited because they look close enough to one another in a lineup where you can't pick out the person who pickpocketed you. Clever idea for a street gang. What's Merriweather's goal for this session?
Well, I mean, way back when, I got picked up by that Nugh fella, and it was absolutely terrifying. And I think I am wanting to expose Nugh for being just a heartless creation, not a sentient thinking being, as I think something like that's too dangerous to be around.
That's fair. You know who knows what's right for the town is its local pickpockets. If they're not looking out for the town, who is?
Listen, I can't commit crime if there's no one there to give crime to, so, you know.
Good point. All right, thank you for the intro. Waving people in. Next up is Mary's player. Can everyone else take your headphones off? I'll wave you back in. Mary, you are using the dependent role card today. What is your goal for the session?
So my goal for this session is to basically get that money. Specifically, my desire card in the game is a large income is the best recipe for happiness I ever heard of. Come into substantial wealth while ensuring your reputation stays absolutely impeccable. And as a woman in, 16th century London, her whole goal is to marry someone in a higher status than her and to be able to ensure her security that way. So that's what she's going to be striving for today.
Makes sense to me. I mean, this game is weirdly perfect for Mary.
It really is. Which is I guess it's not surprising given that this game is the Regency era and Mary is from the Elizabethan era.
Yeah.
So lots of values carry over from that. So it was really easy and fun making Mary's character sheet and everything.
Yes. And you have an inner conflict, 2 goals that if you pursue one, it's at the detriment to the other. What are those?
Yes. So Mary, her original goal since the beginning of the season has been to go back home. But now, since the last time she went on an adventure with the fire-breathing kittens, she's learning more about her magical power and starting to think that maybe this isn't something she should hide or be ashamed of. So despite what her socializing is telling her, she desperately wants to learn more about it. But the thing is, she can't have magical powers in public if she goes back home. So those are two very conflicting desires.
The conflict, the drama. You're also playing Crosby Jameson. What is this student who was once had their name tag stolen by Bill at their student career fair? What is his goal for the session?
Yeah. It was actually fun to make this goal because he's only shown up once, and I listened to that episode. It was so much fun. He is out to regain his good reputation. So Crosby himself is the heir to a very large company, Horizon Sending Services, which is the maintainer and distributor of the magical ley lines that connect all of the sending stones and communications within Nicomoy and outside the city, like in major cities. Yeah. And so if he wants to maintain that inheritance and also graduate from the Atrios Academy, he needs to prove that he's not the one who did all of those crazy things like breaking a Ferris wheel and stuff at the career fair. So he only knows Bill by description, but he's out to find him and not necessarily get revenge, but bring him to justice and primarily regain his good name.
For justice, for his good name. And you're also playing as Honda Domecki, the parallel universe version of Zidane Carmichael, who without, I guess he got frozen just like our Zidane Carmichael did, but gained his memories back and actually achieved championship status in the Gladiator Ring, which is what Honda Domecki is. It's sort of a title instead of his given name. So what is Honda's goal for this session?
So I got to be a little creative with this one because this is also a character that's only appeared once in an alternate universe. So I have decided that that Honda Domecki is aware of family connections of his that Zidane is not. So don't tell Zidane this, but Zidane still has a daughter and a wife in this current universe. I've made it such that Honda does not have those family members in his current universe. And so he's found a way to travel to this one so that he can reconnect with his daughter, Marcia, and his wife. But yes, he wants to try and do that and get information about them and try and find where they are without Zidane knowing that that's what he's doing.
Gasp, that's right, because the wife is secretly an elf and she hasn't aged at all. Dun, dun, dun.
The drama. I love it.
All right, let's wave everybody back in. Next up is Bill's character. Bill's player. Everybody else take your headphones off. Bill, you're playing a careerist role sheet today. Bill DeStatchman, what is your goal for the session?
That's the desire, right?
Yeah.
My desire is to, there's a rumor going on around me that I have become a highwayman and a bandit, which in Bill's backstory, he was tricked into doing those things. He is also rumored to be a pirate on the high seas, and his master created him to enrich himself, not to actually protect the village of Hardingwood. So Bill's goal is to allay those fears and restore his name and his family's name and return to the position of protector of the town when he returns from his outing with the fire-breathing kittens.
That's a fantastic goal. And what are your inner conflicts?
My inner conflicts are wanting to be a hero and discovering what it really means to be a hero versus freedom and what it means to make my own choices and follow my own path.
That's right, because you were created to be a hero. That's not something you chose for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're also playing Adam Shelley, an artist who has known Nugh since he was a child. What's Adam's goal?
Adam's goal is to create the best art and thereby get himself a wealthy patron.
This is a great chance for you to get one. Perfect. And you're playing Kaysen Zadok, the father who orchestrated for Zidane Carmichael to be frozen in time so that he wouldn't be a rival, a competition who could possibly dethrone his son, Jessup Zadok. Kaysen ensured that his family legacy would not be tarnished by a loser in the gladiatorial ring for a son by getting rid of the competition. What's Kaysen's goal today?
His goal is to maintain those connections and make wealthy connections, and maintain his, I guess not newfound because it was 200 years ago, but his position in society, and that can be threatened by who's here today.
Yes, and what secrets they may reveal. Kaysen's never done anything wrong. Freeze an opponent in time? He would never.
Never. Who would even think of such a thing?
Thank you. And let's wave everybody back in. Wave, wave. Wave, wave. Okay. And lastly, we have the player who plays as Nugh.
Hello.
Nugh, you're playing as the careerist roll sheet today. What is your goal for the session?
So, Nugh is always trying to learn more about himself and the world. And in this session, he's probably exploring his duty to those who gave him life, of whom there are several, because Nugh is made up of the parts of many other people who are now deceased. So we're probably exploring that a bit today, as he is wearing another man's face.
Yes, you are another man's face, indeed. And you are also playing as Lady Elizabeth Featherbottom, the mayor of a town that desperately needs some protection. But unfortunately, the aging old wizard, instead of having an apprentice wizard, made some sort of statue to defend the town. A statue that you hear is a bandit. What's your goal for Lady Elizabeth Featherbottom today?
Oh, I am absolutely going to expose him for the bandit that he is and denounce him so that no one will ever trust him again. How dare he?
How dare he? You are also playing as Obsidiana La Caldera, one of our oldest recurring characters today, who started out as the bad person orchestrating some crimes who was revealed, and then we found out that they were the leader of the Shadow Cabal. They turned into a giant black dragon. Fire-breathing kittens killed her. In hell, she told fire-breathing kittens, hey, can you take this necklace back to my sister's body? I feel bad now that I'm dead for all the bad things that I did. Mary took the necklace back to the sister's body. The sister got animated by Obsidiana's soul. Obsidiana cackled and said, thanks for bringing me back to life, suckers. Obsidiana promptly, in a future episode, the fire-breathing kittens bound her magic. They destroyed the amulet, and so she is now powerless and in the body of a 6-year-old. But in the crab adventure, she kept committing crimes and was thrown in jail, and thankfully the fire-breathing kittens broke her out before a giant wave destroyed the island, and now you are a powerless 6-year-old villain, magicless, and with a very long history of having tricking.
You only think I'm powerless because you just don't know me yet. That's all.
I love it.
But I am definitely going to get myself some magic if I have to kill everybody here to do it.
Okay. Well, we have some drama people. All right, go ahead and take your headphones off and I'll talk about my 4 characters. Everyone, they have given me 4 characters to play. I am Rictavio Brittlecorn, a New York accent, I can't really do that, I'll try, who will mock Bill for not being able to catch a cold, much less a crook, as he still has his money after many adventures with the fire-breathing kittens failing to make him anything less than the rich and powerful man he is. I'm also playing as Miss Alicia Garrick. She knew one of Nook's donors, shall we say. She was secretly engaged to Algernon Jr. 12 years ago when they were young and in love and hopeful. He disappeared. I think he ghosted her. That's weird. And ghosted her. And she just thought he left. So she got married to someone else, and he has sadly passed on, but she has a surviving 9-year-old daughter, and she's just kind of mostly forgotten about that guy that she used to date, that she did want to marry, but she thinks he left her. And I'm playing as Carolee Brightflitter. She is a queen of pixies. She has a lot of magic powers, so she will serve as a temptation for Mary, and also for Obsidiana. She has a formal, fancy voice, and she will call Mary princess because she sees something deep within her. I am totally referencing the once and future king, because for Carolee, Mary is obviously royalty. She can just tell, just looking at her. And I'm also playing as Marcia Carmichael, And Marcia is an elderly person. This is doesn't sound like an old person, but it's different than all the others' voice. Marcia is 202 years old and a half-elf. She's at about the end of her life, but her dad just kind of left the family. He was a gladiator. His name was Zidane, and he left the family when she was 2, but that's okay. She had a great stepdad. He's dead now, but, she had a great life, and she has grandkids and great-great-grandkids and great-great-great-grandkids, and actually, she doesn't know this, but Zidane has met some of them. They live on Carmick Hills, named after the Carmichaels. Okay, waving everybody in. Woo! 15 minutes later, we get to start the adventure. Welcome, everyone, to Good Society. It has a long intro, but that's because there's a lot of moving parts. That's what it takes to make a game interesting without any GM planning. We make you guys interested in the plot and driving it. I will briefly explain the mechanics of Good Society. Everybody has 2 resolve tokens for each character that they are voicing. You can spend a resolve token to make a big change, and you can make all the drama you want. You are encouraged to make mischief for your own character. Give your character some hardships to overcome. It'll show the strength of their character as they overcome that adversity. You also have 1 monologue token. The monologue token can be used to ask a question of any other character, and they will be forced to monologue in front of everyone the truth, which implies you all don't have to be telling the truth. In fact, unless you're forced by a monologue token, maybe you shouldn't be telling the truth at any time. I'm not suggesting anything. As we play this game, we're going to go through phases. There's the novel chapter phase, which we're going to do for the first half before our break. We and Fire Breathing Kittens take a break after about an hour and a half. After we get back from break, we'll do the reputation phase, where we basically you know how in every episode of Fire Breathing Kittens we start part 2 by recapping what just happened?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This game formalizes that, and it gives you points and reputation tags for that. So it's actually very, very compatible with our Fire Breathing Kittens format. We just literally do what we always do, but then we give you points for it. It's just slightly better. And you'll use those reputation points to activate your permanent reputation rewards, which are cool. They're on your character sheet. At home, you can look up the, various character role sheets that are secret information that we shared just a few seconds ago if you want to see what potential rewards these players can unlock with their role-playing. All right, so you guys are paying attention to your character sheets. You know the conditions that you have to do to activate. You'll be using, take notes as you role play, because you'll be using your actions during this part that we're about to do to justify bargaining for activating reputation tags when we come back from break. Okay, guys?
Cool.
Groovy.
Great. We're going to start role play. Good Society has the first novel chapter be an event. It recommends somebody hosts a party. Which of your characters might possibly host a party?
I think Kaz and Zadok might host a party to further his socialite nature.
Yes. Does anyone have a suggested topic for the party? Is this a birthday party, a funeral, a wedding, or a graduation?
I feel like someone with a lot of status like that could just throw a party just cause, just a bunch of rich people to get together, mingle, network, all that kind of stuff that happens with people like that.
Maybe he's looking for a bride for his or groom for his son. We know he cares a lot about him.
Ah. Ooh, and the son's not there because the dad wants to whittle down the pool and have just one candidate to present to the son rather than having the son feel like a piece of meat hoisted off at a party. This is a secret.
Right. He's vetting candidates early.
Yeah.
Yes. Why would your other characters be at this party?
Adam would be there he's likes to rub elbows with the rich and powerful. Bill is associated with the Hardingwood wizarding family, so I think he got invited to sort of add his name to the list of fancy people at this party. If you know the creation of one of the Hardingwoods is there, magic is just around the corner.
I think with the characters I'm playing, so first is Mary. She definitely wants to start making connections and also try and get to know some more people with a little bit more means for her own purposes. So she'd be at this party for that reason.
Yeah. Can I ask a question? How did Kaysen publicize this party? Because he couldn't put a newspaper ad out. Then his son would know that he was trying to arrange a marriage for him. How did you let people know about this party? How would Mary have found out?
Oh, if I may put a suggestion out there. Well, we know that, actually, I don't know. Zidane's player, do you think that Zidane would be like tracking Kaysen?
I mean, realistically, I would say that, especially after he found out, and this was his first real lead. That's why he disappeared for several months, because he was trying to figure out where to find this guy and couldn't.
So it's possible then that Zidane has found out about this party from getting his leads and has recruited all the Fire Breathing Kittens characters to go and be like backup or things like that. So I think that'd be a good reason for, yeah.
Here's my suggestion. Kazan passed off writing invites to one of his manservants because that is such a thing below him. And that manservant is open to bribery. So if Zidane wanted to get there, all he would have to do is pay this guy to put his name on the list, and whoever's name on the list, and they're on the list now.
Realistically, under a pseudonym.
Yeah. Presumably, yes.
Yeah. So that explains why Mary and Nugh are there as muscle for Zidane to infiltrate this party and confront Kaysen and Bill
too.
Yeah. Okay.
I think Obsidiana is definitely there through bribery because she looks like a 6-year-old. So for her, this is an opportunity for her to find somebody with power that she can take. So however that plays out for her. Lady Elizabeth Featherbottom has is she married? Do we know?
I didn't put that in her backstory. She could be if you want her to be or not.
She's not married. She's a candidate. She was actually invited.
That makes sense. You're a mayor.
And she has no idea that she's there as a potential candidate for Kazan's son. She thinks it's just a party.
I like that.
And so I would say Erebus would come along with Mary because I would say a little bit of an outdated ideology he would have too is like, well, she can't get back home, may as well get her hitched at least, you know. And apparently this guy's loaded, so at least be comfortable while you're trapped somewhere that's not your home. So I feel like that would be an excellent, that's the reason why he would be there. And then with Merryweather's not invited at all. He snuck in. He put on a nice fancy suit that he pickpocketed off of someone else. Could just pickpocket suits or whatnot on Bethesda logic here, and snuck in. You know, probably got confused with like a member of waitstaff or something like that. Happened to be a lookalike for a waitstaff, and
they all look alike.
So that's how. And so that's how he's there. Is he's not a part. He's a rogue entity for this party, but did learn through the grapevine that Nugh is going to be there too.
And then Crosby Jameson is there because he is an elite. He's a student of the Atrios Academy, but also the heir to Horizon Sending Services. So, like, of course he would be invited. He's, you know, his dad's probably a friend of Kaysen or whatever, you know. So he's just there anyway. And then Honda Domeki, I think, probably snuck in trying to be waitstaff too, just to try and get information for his own purposes. Ooh.
Excellent. Excellent. Describe the party. What kind of room is this? And what building is it in?
I would say that the party is going to be held like in a gigantic like estate, like a big old mansion. There's probably even a room specifically set aside for these hoity-toity, pinkies out parties. So it would kind of be like,
if you will.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, man, words are hard. Okay. So yeah, it would be in the ballroom. You still have to like go through you still have to go into the main part of the manor, and then you have to be led. There's a servant there or a waiter or whatever there to make sure that you don't go a snooping through any rooms that you shouldn't be a snooping in.
Looks just like Merryweather. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, that sounds like a really pretty ballroom in a mansion. What kind of activities are being held here? Is there dancing or food or hookah circles?
There's got to be arm wrestling, right?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Like at the very least, like arm wrestling, because you can't, do mud wrestling or anything like that in like suits and dresses and stuff. But I feel like there'd be like some like arm wrestling booths for non-candidates, but also for candidates as well. Test their strength, see if they could keep up with Cass and Sun. But then also I think dancing, maybe, it could be fun if there are like acrobats around, where there's maybe like a small stage somewhere with a stage play going on about Cass and Sun, Jessup's great victory in the ring.
Yes. Entertainment corner, dance floor corner. I'm thinking that there's some tall sound absorbing walls making an L around the dance floor, which also provides some privacy if we want that for later. So it's an open room, but there's like panels to absorb the sound so that the dance floor doesn't interrupt the stage play.
What I kind of had in my mind a little bit with all this stuff going on is maybe the back doors to the ballroom are open and it's a nice day, and some of that stuff, the louder stuff, is taking place outside.
Perfect. Okay, the dance floor is under blossoming trees with beautiful fairy lights strung on them. It's like dusk, and the tiny twinkling lights really set the scene.
Now, when you say fairy lights, we are in a fantastical world. Are they? I think they are actual fairies that he has hired to dance along a string.
They are actual fairies. They are. And that actually explains why my Carolee Brightflitter character is there. She's the queen of pixies. She loves sparkly things. And when offered good food, I think she was offered like a sweet cake in exchange for this. And the whole cake, like big 4-tier wedding cake, was enough to feed the entire pixie tribe. So she and her pixies, whose wings sparkle like diamonds under the night sky, they love shiny things, and they are having a ball decorating these trees, and they themselves are sparkly, and they've got these magic little lights, and they're having a great time. I think they're having their own party out in the garden, really.
I was going to say there is a complete other episode of the dramatics in the fairy party in the trees. To the rest of us, they're just pretty lights, though.
Oh, yeah. They have this grand quest where they've stolen a cupcake, and it's the biggest drama in their society this year.
I would also say when Zidane eventually shows up to this thing, too, he's going to be lightly disguised. But he doesn't know how to do that very well, so he's just wearing a hat that's tilted slightly down. So that way it's obscuring some of his features. He doesn't want to go too crazy, but he does, just in case it devolves or evolves or changes in that kind of part. He keeps he's got a masquerade mask on him, too, just in case.
Is anybody else in disguise?
So it's a party, which means that Nugh is wearing a clean suit. He had his suit cleaned for this event. So it is no longer stained by grave dirt.
Wow.
Is that even Nugh anymore?
Look, he already questions his identity every day anyway, so sure.
Fair enough.
The
Nugh saved the
of
water,
character
so
development.
Nugh saved the water so later he can dry it out and put the dirt back on himself if he really wants to.
I think Mary has done up her hair a little bit, and actually spent some hard-earned gold. Normally, she doesn't care much for gold in this universe because she doesn't think it's quote-unquote real. But now that she's going to a big party, she's like, okay, I will go and take some of this stuff I've just happened to collect, through all my fire-breathing kittens adventures. And she went out and actually got a tailor-made dress. It's kind of a mix of the Nicomoy style and the Elizabethan style. So it does have the frill at the collar. It's not very big because that would be a little too prideful. But it's got maybe like 2 inches of frill on there, which is very much for her. And it's still a nice sky blue color, though, to where she isn't like breaking any Elizabethan clothing color laws, which do exist. You should look it up if that sounds interesting to you. But she's having a blast. She's not disguised at all. And she's just looking around, maybe with the other fire-breathing kittens, like, dost thou see that? Dost thou see that? 'Tis a carnival.
Bill bought himself some new rock polish and really made himself shine.
I love that.
Though I will add that while Zidane is wearing a hat as the disguise, that he is wearing like a deep, like maroon colored suit this time. So even though he's trying to not stand out, he is inadvertently still standing out, just more through his clothes than his face.
Obsidiana is wearing a purple pinafore, and has her. Have we established what color hair her sister had?
Probably black like hers.
Okay. So her dark hair is in braids going down her back. She looks very precious, little petticoats, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, we've established what you look like. We've established some activities and the scene and the motivation. Got to get these ladies arm wrestling so we can find a good match for my son. So now that we know,
is it only looking for ladies, or is his son just open to a partner? Can men be considered potential mates as well?
So that's a great good society question. There's actually officially in the formal rules of good societies that we establish gender roles, and we turned them off for this adventure. So officially, it can be any, I guess, life partner that, so I just included rock people, guys, girls, any life partner that would be ideal for increasing the status and wealth and stable family, I guess, happiness of his son. And that is something that you at home, you can, like, there's all these, like, suggested things to talk about with your players before the game. So I let people send me their requests, and that's what we ended up on. They are turned off. Gender roles are off. All right, so we've got the setting. We've got all the possible candidates for marriage. We've got the activities. Everybody can be arm wrestling. And now I want to suggest to you guys, you've got some reputation tag criterias, ways that you can gain reputation tags. Why don't one of you set a scene where you are doing an action that you hope later you can, in the reputation phase, later you can argue earns you a positive reputation tag and gets you closer to your goal. What could you do to achieve that?
And this is the initial reputation?
Well, that's the one you start with. And below that is some reputation criteria, 3 things that you can do to gain another tag. And you do want to gain 3 positive reputation tags in this part because that way you can unlock your reputation reward for the next part. And I encourage you to spend resolve tokens to make something important happen to the scene. Cause some chaos.
So I will go ahead and take a stab at it. Mary is not a very physically strong person, nor does she like to be. She's a very proper Elizabethan woman. But the social customs at this party in particular dictate that part of being a candidate for Jessup's hand in marriage is arm wrestling. So she says to the other fire-breathing kittens, "While I am not skilled in physical combat, I shall go and give it my best." She's starting to speak a little bit more like she's from this universe too. It's pretty clear that she's starting to adopt some of the norms here. So she goes over and she can see like this row of people. She goes in particular to the ladies' table. She's not going to go to the men's or co-ed's table. And she looks at the competition and then gets in line. I would say that some of the competition is actually like a little stiff. Like these candidates are not messing around. So
let's say that Lady Elizabeth Featherbottom is sitting at that table with a drink in hand, thinking that it is a drinks table.
Oh, definitely.
And I book you to spend a resolve token to either you can pay it to the bank to not affect Lady Elizabeth Featherbottom at all, or her goal, or you can try to barter to give it to Lady Elizabeth Featherbottom to win, which would make you the better candidate for marriage. And if Lady Elizabeth Featherbottom is like, yeah, sure, that doesn't affect me at all, you could accept it with no conditions. You could accept it with a condition, trying to get something you want out of it. Or you could just say, no, I just stand up and leave and I take my drink and I walk away.
So what I was initially thinking was that Mary would compete, but you try and use her magic to like sabotage the competition and use a resolve token for that. But try and do it sneakily, right? Because she still has to try and maintain her reputation. So honestly, I'm taking a big gamble here because I could either gain a positive tag for this or a negative tag for this, depending on what reputation criteria this fits with. So I would actually instead, Mary goes to Lady Elizabeth Featherbottom and says, thou art a candidate for Sir Jessop's hand in marriage, yeah?
What?
What? But of course,
No.
this is why...
No, of course not.
Oh.
I mean, I have grossly misunderstood this party. Oh, this is embarrassing. Yes, obviously, that's why I'm here.
Well, lady,
Hi,
I do challenge
hello.
thee. Oh,
Yes, I'm nice to meet you. And you were...
oh, yes, introductions. I am Mary Elizabeth Sturt. I'm with the Fire Breathing Kittens.
Very nice to meet you. You already know I am Lady Elizabeth Featherbottom. Lovely name.
Us Elizas must stay together. She doesn't. I
Right.
don't think Mary really wants to challenge this lady anymore. So,
Miss Mary, Lady Mary. Lady Mary? Well, you're...
if you insist.
do you want a drink?
Nay. Dost I just desire a drink? I have changed much these past months. Nay, no drink for me. 'Tis sinful to be too greedy with imbibing.
Well, they have lemonade.
Then
So Lady Elizabeth will get Mary a drink of lemonade, just, totally not alcoholic, and offer it to her. Did you say you were with the fire-breathing kittens?
Yea, indeed.
That's the guild of adventurers, is it not?
'Tis true. A
It's
mighty
very well
guild.
known. Yes, it's very well known here in Nicomoy. Many members.
Indeed. And Mary goes and points out, that one is Zidane. That one is Bill. That one is Nugh.
And Lady Elizabeth's eyes go wide when she sees Bill. She says, that one is a kitten?
Indeed. Very shiny one.
Are you quite sure?
Perfect timing for me to say, there are 4 rumors. I like how I'm
yes.
supposed to be the facilitator. You can spend any spread rumor as if it were a resolve token to impact the story. And I'm just going to narrate those rumors real quick right now. 1, Bill's a pirate. 2, Bill was created to further deepen the pockets of Edward Hardingwood, his creator. making Bill a bandit on purpose to enrich himself, not to protect the village of Hardingwood. 3, Algernon Jr. was sent to debtor's prison 12 years ago to pay off the Jocelyn family debts. And 4, the rest of the Jocelyn family left town 12 years ago and has escaped justice for their embezzlement and fraud crimes. You can spend any of those to make a big change on the story. Cause chaos. Make a big change. Spend rumors.
So, do the kittens often employ pirates?
Excellent. She has chosen to spend. The rumor 1, Bill is a pirate now, raiding ships at sea. This now impacts the story. Everybody, y'all think, you've definitely heard people say that Bill's a pirate.
Bill's definitely a pirate. Absolutely.
Well, though I am new to the guild, I do know that there was a pirate at some point. But dost thou imply that Bill is a pirate? He is much too heavy to be out at sea. 'Twould surely sink the ship.
That's an interesting point, but many ships are quite buoyant. And with magic, you can do almost anything.
And every ship needs an anchor.
Yeah, and every ship needs an anchor. You yourself are not a pirate.
Nay, 'twould never. I do have a cousin who is a privateer, but 'tis different from pirating.
Exactly how?
'Tis state sanctioned. 'Tis for the good of England.
State-sanctioned piracy. Interesting. We should talk more.
Indeed, would love more conversation with you. However, I must win for the chance. No.
Oh, right.
I must win for the chance to win the hand.
Ah, yes. And Lady Elizabeth puts her hand out to Mary.
Okay.
As if to arm wrestle.
You know what?
Spend that resolve token.
I do want to like, God, Mary feels a little bad doing this, but she does want that chance at that money. So, so I'm going to spend a resolve token to try and subtly, well, no, I guess I don't have to try. She has been learning a little bit about her magical power, doing very small steps. She spends a resolve token to use magic to temporarily weaken.
I'm going to make this easier for you.
Yeah, go for it.
Lady Featherbottom does not want to win this. She, in fact, is going to make it look good. But as she's arm wrestling you, her hand is very gently caressing yours. And she folds.
Okay. So in that case, Mary will have used her magic to strengthen her own, not thinking that Lady Featherbottom wouldn't be trying. And so as Lady Featherbottom's hands fold, Elizabeth's hand literally slams it into the table. And it makes just like the tiniest little crater. And I think Lady Elizabeth's hand is like hurt. And Mary's just like, oh, I do apologize. I did not intend to be so strong.
And yeah, I definitely think that Lady Featherbottom now is like she's nursing a bruised hand.
Yeah,
and
I was going to give that token to the bank, but now I'm going to give it to Lady Elizabeth Featherbottom because your hand is now injured. So 3 tokens to Lady Elizabeth Featherbottom and 1 resolve token for Mary. But Lady Elizabeth, your hand is now injured.
Oh, yes. Oh, ow. Well, it was very nice to meet you. I think I'm going to find the first aid tent. And she walks off.
Mary feels so bad, but then there's like a lot of clapping. It's like, oh, good show, around the table for like the sheer like display of power from Mary.
Right.
And she's just like, okay.
Because of the resolve token spent, that impacts the story. Kaysen saw that.
Yes.
Erebus would also give you some congratulations on soundly defeating your opponent there. I do say it seems like you really messed her up there.
Oh.
Did you mean to do that?
I did think she would put up more of a fight, to were I honest. But yes, I did intend to have some power and to win.
Gives you a pat on
Kaysen comes
the back.
over and Kaysen walks over and goes, I saw your wonderful display of strength there, darling. It was beautiful, beautiful. I love to see a strong woman. She's, this is just beautiful work you did today. Keep up the good work there, beautiful. And he walks away.
That was more than I ever imagined I wanted.
Mary would just give like a curtsy as soon as Casey would come up and graciously take the compliment, and then immediately turn to Erebus. Didst thou see that, Erebus? He spoke to me.
He did indeed. Looks like
I think he might look at you, Erebus, before he leaves, like, I think I remember that face, but quickly walk away.
looks like you've caught the eye, so we can't get you back home. Looks like you might at least have a stable work or a stable place to live.
Indeed. Were I honest, I admit I had not thought much of this through. I do still want to return home, Erebus. I do. And Mary kind of gets a little quiet and then shakes herself out of it. Lemonade?
It looks like you've already drank 3/4 of it in your haste. He goes ahead and finishes off what's left of it and puts the empty cup on a tray that is being carried by Merryweather. And then Merryweather just kind of nods and walks to the kitchens. And before he goes, like, would either of you like a refill? Anything like that?
Yes. Another, please. 2.
So then Merryweather wanders off and goes to get the 2 refills, and as he's going back, or to get the 2 new drinks, as he goes back, that's when he's going to spot Nugh. And he actually, as he's walking back to where the 2 of you are, he stops in his tracks and just kind of stares at Nugh for a moment before also shaking himself off a bit, because he realizes this is not the best place to approach what he views as a monster, and drops off your drinks and then just kind of tries his best to idle, keeping an eye on Nugh the whole time.
Merryweather, spend a resolve token to cause some chaos, make the story change, make something happen.
Think what we'll do, just to make it kind of some random fun here, just so he can see what would happen. I'm going to spend a resolve token. He's attempting to freshen up someone else's drinks, but because he's so focused on Nugh, he's not paying attention to where he's walking anymore, and inadvertently trips with the drinks, colorful, bright, shiny, happy beverages that then proceed to spill all over people in their, expensive, custom, tailor-made, possibly stainable clothing.
Who do you spill your drink on?
Not Nugh, because he wouldn't have gotten close enough for that.
Ooh. Crosby Jameson is an option. He is a rich person. I think it'd also be fun if you did it on Bill too. Or maybe Obsidiana, I don't know.
Or even the host of the party, Cassin.
Oh, fun. Yeah.
That's good chaos.
That's good.
I like that. Kason, would you accept this resolve token to have a drink spilled on you? You can say no, you can say yes, or you can say yes with a condition and negotiate.
Yes, as long as it's, the full cup.
Oh, yeah, it's the whole thing.
Nice. Kason now has 3 resolve tokens and Merryweather has 1. Kason, you're covered in a drink and everyone saw. How do you react to this servant who looks like all the other servants? Literally.
At first, Kason you can see his face get red. Anger is flashing through his eyes, and he grabs Merryweather by the collar. You stupid young boy! And then he looks around and realizes everybody at the party is looking at him. And gently puts his collar down and goes, oh, yes, don't worry about it. These sort of things happen. Ha, 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 ha. Perhaps you should go get another cup of lemonade for our guests while I go and change. And you see the rage behind his eyes, but he realizes he is in polite society and can't take his retribution on you right now.
Does that mean that Kason is going to move out of the party and isolate himself?
He would, I don't know about isolate. He would have a manservant helping him change his clothes, but he would definitely leave the party to go change he has more than one outfit for the party. He's very rich. He changes throughout the party, but now he has to go early.
Is that an opportunity for Zidane?
Oh,
It is, especially if he spends a resolve token to take advantage of this isolation as Kaysen exits the party, followed by a manservant who is apologizing profusely.
I would like to spend my second resolve, or like this would be the first resolve token for Honda Domeki. He was disguised as waitstaff and is like, oh no, let me help you. So he accompanies them as help to go and help change Kaysen.
Absolutely accepted by the bank. You are the one helping him with his clothing. Honda Domeki's at 1 resolve token because you now have a private moment. Before anybody else, of course, they're on their way. I'm sure other players are about to reach you. But before they reach you, in the small changing room to the side of the ballroom, with just you and him, what happens, Honda Domeki?
So Honda is like very clearly not adept at changing these clothes and is like messing up. I imagine Kaysen's getting more and more angry.
Yes.
But as this is going, Honda just kind of like menacingly like grips Kaysen's shoulders. Like he's standing behind him or in front of him, like getting the ruffles right and doing the buttons and stuff. And he just like, once he's done, he grabs Kaysen's shoulders and leans down menacingly so that like his mouth is like right next to Kaysen's ear. And he whispers, I know what you've done. I know that your son is a fraud. And there's no way you will get away with this. However, I am an honorable man, and I will allow the one in this universe to take care of you in this universe. But just know you have it coming.
Does Kaysen know that that the guy's been unfrozen in time?
I would imagine he knows by now. Since his son found out about it, I would imagine that got relayed at some point.
Yeah, and Honda exactly has Zidane's face. Maybe an extra scar or two because he was the champion gladiator.
And you're in front of him, not behind him, right?
Correct. Yeah.
His face goes white for a moment, and then he looks at how you're dressed and goes, "Ha! You're but a lowly servant, darling. What are they going to believe? You are a nobleman. You have no power here."
And then I think Zidane busting through the doors in like his suit and everything would be the perfect moment.
So I wouldn't say it would be definitely the dramatic, but not the kicking down the door thing. But it's going to be that slow, kind of like right as you finish saying, and he says the thing he just said. The door just kind of slowly opens, and Zidane walks in and proceeds to say, "Well, it would be better if you were actually threatening the correct me."
Oh my God, there's 2 of them. This couldn't possibly get any worse. There's not a third one of you sneaking around here, is there? He seems very afraid.
Well, if multiverse theory is true, then yes, there's probably more than 2 of us around here. But at present, no, it is just the 2 of us.
Honda will, still with like one strong hand gripping Kaysen's shoulder, will turn to Zidane and say, "Brother, this one is yours." And he shoves him towards you.
So as the shoving, I'm assuming you'll be stumbling a little bit on that. As you're coming towards him, he takes a step forward, grabs Kaysen by the neck, and then spins and shoves him up against the wall.
Kaysen would be shouting for his guards at this point.
Somebody spend a resolve token to make the story change. Do something impactful. And by the way, you can spend a resolve token to make somebody else do something. So like you can spend a resolve token to make Kaysen, etc. Like the example in the rule book is that you can spend a resolve token to make someone else's carriage late to the party. So you can affect their story that way if they accept it. Spend.
Can I spend a resolve token that Nugh, since that's why he was here, was as backup? Nugh is standing in the hallway, possibly with Bill.
Yeah, and how does that change the story?
Well, when Kazan calls for guards, we're there. We're there to brawl with them and stop them from reaching him.
Excellent. Because you spent that resolve token, you're in the hallway and you've bought your friends 5 minutes because the guards can't get through you for that long, at least.
Casson is going to spend a resolve token to jump out the window.
Oh.
So you break free.
Wow.
To break free and jump out the window. He's magical.
Nice. Yeah, you are down to 2. You had 3. You're down to 2 resolve tokens, Casson. The current people who have only 1 resolve token left are Merryweather, Mary, and Nugh. You jump out that window and you land in the garden with the pixies. You step on the cupcake.
Oh, no.
Dreadfully sorry. I'll get you another, I promise.
My cupcake! Shouts a pixie. In a commanding tone, the queen of the pixies says, "Halt! Lower your toothpicks." And you see the... This is our employer. Don't attack him. He gave us the cake.
There's more cake coming if people follow me out this window. If you stick them with your toothpicks, I'd really appreciate it.
More cake? Good food makes for good friends. And they raise their toothpicks. Actually, spend a resolve token to gain from Kason to gain a pixie armada.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. That's going to go to Carolee. Pixie Armada has been armed. They have popsicle sticks and toothpicks and matches, and there's about 30 of them.
Not matches.
One of them is really cool and has one of those sword-shaped toothpicks.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, one of them's, like, a couple of them have the like, toothpick umbrellas.
Yes.
But more to the point, they have magic.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, pish posh.
Anyone who follows out that window will find the 30 pixies armed with toothpicks. I have accepted your resolve token. Kason, you're down to 1. Kason, you make it at least 20 feet into the garden. If anybody else would like to follow you.
Oh, I absolutely am.
Okay.
Honda actually will not. Honda will stay back.
So Bill did not follow you guys up to the door, and Bill is going to try to cause a distraction because this is all like there's a broken window and people jumping out of it. Bill is going to try to cause a distraction by busting a move on the dance floor. Now, Bill is very stiff and does not actually know how to dance, but he is going to give it his darndest and try to get everyone to look at him so you guys can chase down Casson.
Absolutely. Bill, I would like to be the one to spend the resolve token to you because as you dance, I want Rictavio Brittlecorn to notice you and to have a conversation and to take the story that way. Would you accept my resolve token for you to be knowing that you must spend some time talking to Rictavio?
As long as Rictavio is my dance partner.
Oh, he's
not
your
just
dance
on
partner.
The floor. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Nice.
You and Rictavio are dancing together. You're up to 3 resolve tokens. I handed you 1 from Rictavio.
In my head, this is going really well. Like, this almost looks, even though Bill has never danced before, this is like choreographed to Groove is in the Heart.
And because of that resolve token, Rictavio is mocking you to everybody as he's swooping, he's dipping, he's sliding. He's a fantastic dancer, actually. And he says,
"Build a statue, man. Imagine seeing you here."
I don't have a great imagination, but I am here and you are here, so I don't have to imagine it.
Build the one who wouldn't be able to catch even a common cold, much less a crook.
and he swoops you, he dips you to the whole crowd. They applaud.
He is really strong.
He is really strong. And you're also letting him. You just bent backwards.
Yeah. Bill is going to dance back with him like, I don't have to catch you to stop your evil schemes. Are you here to steal more money from people?
Me steal money from people? I don't need to. I have all the money I could ever want after my last scheme, which you did not stop.
I don't know what this accent is. Don't come for me. I have as much money as a person could ever want. Why are you here? You trying to break up someone's nice party again? All you ever do is cause trouble.
I'm here for two things: dancing and chewing bubble gum. And I'm all out of bubble gum.
Can you dance? A stiff statue like you? And he steps away and he does this rapid foot movement. And it's a challenge. It's a dance off.
Nice.
Bill is going to break out the best robot dance you have ever seen in your life. He can pop it and lock it like nobody's business because he can literally lock his joints.
He counters by hopping on his head and spinning his legs in the air in a circle like a helicopter.
I don't know how to respond to that.
Here. Actually, Crosby Jameson would like to respond to that. So Crosby would like to use a resolve token to, if Rictavio is okay with it, to kind of like tag out.
Oh yeah, he's kind of fat and old.
Yeah.
He's panting and he's like,
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
and he feels that he has one-upped Bill de Statuman. He feels that he has won in the dance-off as he tags out.
Yeah. And Crosby steps in and says, You are the fiend who has ruined my reputation.
The whole crowd
And-
cheers because it's two statues dancing.
And Crosby is going to use a monologue token. Admit what you've done. That you framed me at the Atreus Academy career fair. And you've ruined my good name.
I would like to spend a resolve token from Lady Elizabeth Featherbottom to join this scene and add, because this is the perfect moment for her to also denounce Bill.
Okay, let's have the monologue token first, and then we'll do the resolve token. Basically, Bill, you have to tell the truth, and everybody is looking at you on this dance floor. And specifically, you were told to tell the truth about your use of Crosby Jameson's name at the Atreus Academy career fair.
Crosby, I owe you an apology. I took your name tag at the event and I did not heroic things. I thought I was being a hero by disgracing Atreus Academy. I did not mean to ruin your good name, but you are correct. I knocked over a Ferris wheel. I let a lot of animals free at a petting zoo. And I'm sorry if this has caused you pain. It was not my intention. And Bill kind of bows his head.
Crosby's face just it's like there's so much pent up anger and like determination, and now that the truth is out there, there's this brilliant lit look in his eyes, and a little theatrically he turns around in his very nice suit coat that's got a monogram CJ emblazoned on it and says, "You all heard him. I am innocent of the charges of Atreus Academy's career fair mischief, and he is the one who should be held in contempt of this society."
One of the waiters shouts, "Yeah, they don't all look the same."
And Lady Elizabeth says, "And he's a pirate."
I'm sorry, what? I've never been on a ship in my life. I'm made of stone. I would sink very quickly.
That rumor did get spent in the earlier conversation with Mary to convince Mary that he was a pirate. If you want to spend the other rumor, you can spend that instead of your resolve token.
Yeah, it is the bandit one,
The bandit one.
so
Yeah.
that could work.
That's fine. Well, you cannot deny that you engaged in banditry upon my lands.
I was not a bandit. I stop bandits, go find Alec Brome and ask him where the rest of his men are.
Someone from the audience shouts, because of the rumor, I heard that you were part of a bandit gang. There were little kids in that bandit gang that bandit gang killed the parents of. I was talking to someone and she said that she has to raise her niece and nephew because they were killed by a bandit gang that you were part of.
Now, can I spend a resolve for that aunt or one of those children to be here at this party?
I don't really want to play more NPCs, but the rulebook says I can, but I don't really want to.
Can I spend a resolve token to add chaos as Obsidiana?
Heck yeah. I like that much more than me playing another NPC.
So Obsidiana is going to step forward, and I will spend my resolve token here for this. And she's going to say, "Oh, no, sir. My parents were definitely killed by your bandit gang." With her gigantic eyes and her cute little dress and everything.
Because of the resolve token, the whole crowd goes, "Aw, you poor thing. Your parents were killed by that bandits gang." And everyone believes her because of the rumor and the resolve token.
I am going to use my monologue token.
Orphan. Yep.
I'm going to use my monologue token and look at it and go, I don't recognize you. Who are you? Monologue token.
Why?
All right, monologue token has been spent. Who are you must be answered completely truthfully by Obsidiana La Caldere.
My name is Obsidiana La Caldere, and I have such a tragic story. A story of having been horrendously slaughtered and then miraculously brought back to life through the good actions of the fire-breathing kittens. Is all of that completely true?
That is completely true.
That is true. Oh my God. Mary can't keep herself back. She's going to go in. And she's going to... Oh my gosh. Okay. No, not yet. Not yet. I was like, maybe I should do an inner conflict one for a resolve time. I'm like, no, not yet. Mary's going to immediately like stomp over and kind of get a little protectively in front of Bill, but especially so that she's facing Obsidiana. And she cries out, "Thou art a fiend and a rascal and a liar. Do not believe this girl, this demon, spawn of Satan. The fire-breathing kittens would never help someone who is so evil come back to life. She did trick me and mine friends to raise her from the dead. She art a liar."
Oh, raised from the dead. Interesting, says one of the audience members.
But I don't have any magic, whereas you clearly do, as I gesture at the dented table.
Oh.
I am powerless and helpless. I'm just a child. And she's like giving you this just wicked grin of like, I know, you know.
Oh, Mary is so mad right now.
But hey, Bill's objective of causing a distraction has worked really well.
Okay.
I would think at watching his foster daughter frothing in seething rage would then take that the fatherly hand on the shoulder to try and ground you back down again. Doesn't say anything yet.
I don't want to do this because I don't want to like gain a negative tag from doing this. But I know Mary would do this. I know. She's so upset right now that she literally like flings off your hand, Erebus, and says, "I am rightfully incensed by this woman's lies and calumny. Do not try and calm me."
I'm not saying that your anger isn't justified. I'm saying don't act out on it here. Not in front of all these people.
I think that would resonate with her, and she storms off, probably outside somewhere.
We'll be outside. We're on the dance floor.
Oh, then inside.
Gonna go inside to cool off.
There are people who are fanning me in there.
There's a room for that. And then I think as Mary storms off back inside, and I'm legitimately terrible with names. What was the name of the small child? The small evil child?
Obsidiana.
I think at that point, Erebus would then approach Obsidiana in all of his mid-80s glory and look down at her and say, "And you dare besmirch my daughter again, it will be the last thing you do."
Oh, no. I respect her so very much. She's the one who brought me back to life. I owe her so much, and I intend to repay her.
Off-screen, Mary is raging. You can't see.
I'm trying so hard to be quiet for the mic.
It's hilarious.
I'm gonna give the Clint Eastwood narrow-eyed stare. It's like, I'm gonna be keeping my eye on you. I hope you're feeling lucky. Then he
Harry.
walks away to go find Mary to go, help her out.
Meanwhile, people may have jumped through the window. Let's go back to that.
I sure did. With like a Terminator-like focus, Zidane will jump out of the window. Probably lands much more elegantly and eloquently than Kazan did. But I assume when he lands, that is when the toothpick fairy army is sitting right there.
Oh, yes. And because they are friends with the good food bringer, they address you with their toothpicks, and the queen yells, "Stop!"
Zidane will stop because he just doesn't get poked at the moment. It's like, that man that you serve, yes, I'm sure he promised you some form of compensation, be it food, money, something, status. I don't know. Honestly, don't really care. That man is not a man of his word. And
The cake is a lie?
the cake is indeed. The cake is filled with a deadly neurotoxin. It's going to flood the center. No, I don't say that part. But could I spend a resolve token to the fairies to not necessarily come to my side, but just to let me through by calling Kazan a liar?
Yes, I will accept this. They will believe, no conditions, that the cake is a lie.
But Kazan did spend a resolve point to get them on his side.
That's true.
So does his completely negate?
He made them line up, but it took some time for that negotiation to happen. So Kaysen has a 2-minute head start on people because of the discussion of lies and cakes.
And I really just didn't want to get poked.
Kaysen, you have a 2-minute head start, and that's plenty of time to get through the dance floor if you had wanted to sneak through where nobody was paying attention to you, back inside, or wherever you want to be, you're there. So there was no combat, but you have successfully escaped.
I think Kaysen would be going to the head of his guards to tell them to be on the lookout for, I'm sorry, what's your character's name again?
So his real name is Zidane Carmichael, but he did use a pseudonym to get in.
Well, you didn't tell him what his pseudonym is, so he's telling him to be on the lookout for Zidane Carmichael, and there's 2 of them, so one of them has a couple more scars, but somehow there's 2 of them here, and they're both after me. I don't understand it. I did nothing wrong, but they're here to rob me, I swear.
And you are successfully changed of clothes and surrounded by guards. Meanwhile, Zidane has chased after you into the night. There was no combat with the pixie army, and you are in the garden. They actually are easily distracted by shiny things especially, and have resumed their... You notice that the little lights are actually tiny fuzzy puffs, sort of like if lightning bugs were pom-poms.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah.
They're feeding them and petting them. I have
So-
4 resolve tokens, so I'm going to spend one from Carolee Brightflitter. What she really wants more than anything is shiny things. So she's going to do some mischief.
Bill is shiny right now.
Bill is so shiny. Bill, would you like to be entranced by fairies?
Yes, I would. Anything to get out of this situation.
Everyone's currently calling Bill like a thief and a liar and a murderer and a pirate. So I imagine that as the whole crowd boos at you, you step back into the garden's darkness and fairy lights. And the fairy lights shine off of that well-polished stone, and Carolee sets her eyes upon this statue, and she thinks to herself, well, that would be a lovely decoration for my fairy circle. And she comes to you and she says, "Fair prince, what brings you to our garden tonight in all of your shining splendor?" And she's going to give you a resolve token if this conversation results in you being whisked off to the fairyland. You don't get kidnapped by fairies.
Will I get to come back?
We'll find out.
You know what? Actually, at this point, I think Bill would like to get whisked off to the fairyland.
All right, here's a resolve token to you, Bill. You have 4 now. You have plenty to spend to choose your own fate in the fairyland. But Bill's not in the garden, you guys, anymore. He's not there. He's been whisked off to fairyland, where you are surrounded by like piles of diamonds and also marshmallows. It's an interesting mixture. And in the solitude there, a cute little puff light comes and lands on you and goes, cute.
Bill pets it very gently. All
There's a shining diamond glittering portal behind you, and that's where we're going to leave Bill. He is lost in the sauce. What are y'all doing?
So while all of this chaos is going on, Honda Domeki would actually like to go into the, like, either the, he wants to explore the ground so that he can find Marcia Carmichael, who
Okay.
yeah. Do I need to spend a resolve token to have him find her?
She said something during the dance-off, so you actually hear her voice in turn, and you see, and it's like, it looks like your elderly mom is who she reminds you of. She looks like your old, she looks very, it's like if your mom had a sister.
So, Honda says, "Well, hello. My name is Honda Domeki," and just gives like a very nice bow.
She gasps, recognizing your face instantly from the pictures her mom used to have on the mantle of her sperm donor father, not her actual dad. That's her stepdad. But that's like, she knows your face, and she goes, "Huh, but you're human. How have you not aged? I'm so," and she sits down. She's in her thin elderly hand, grabs the chair very tightly, and she sits down and clutches her chest.
Honda will kneel down, get down on one knee right beside her and kind of like hold her hand and says, "It's too much to explain right now, but I just want you to know, I just wanted to see you one last time. How has your life been? Has it been fulfilling? I'm sorry if I wasn't there for you when I should have been."
Dad, She starts to cry. A single tear slides down her cheek, and she's like, "Am I dead? And this is like the last few moments of..."
No, well, I suppose I can tell you in the little bit of time we have, but
The dance floor is going in the background.
Darude Sandstorm's playing in the background for this tender moment.
And all of this tender moment is happening amidst Darude's sandstorm. And he says, "Shortly after you were born, I was frozen in time, captured by Kazan, the very one hosting this event. He wanted his son, Jessup, to be the champion, And I woke up too late, at least in my world, to see you again.
She clutches her chest tighter.
Ah,
Maybe.
no, not what I want.
Can I spend a resolve token, not as a character, but as a I want to add some chaos to this?
Yeah, it's from any character's pool. Who would it
Cool.
serve the most? So you've got Nugh, Lady Elizabeth Featherbottom has 3, and Obsidiana has 1. Nugh and Obsidiana have 1. So.
Lady Elizabeth spent 1, but I'll spend 1 from her, even though this has nothing to do with her story. But I want to add a complication to them.
Tie it to her story to be able to spend this resolve token.
I cannot.
Be creative.
All right, then I'm just going to offer this as a suggestion. What if Kaysen was like a close family friend to Marcia when she was growing up?
Yeah.
That makes sense. She's half elf, like he's an elf. Maybe she's related.
Or just like, like
Family friends. Yeah.
like family friend, like her stepdad's best friend or something like that. Like just like they were close. Like he was her.
Anything a la Sweeney Todd sort of thing that he took her in as a ward?
Yeah.
No. So her stepdad
Nope.
was a human who died. I'll say they were
Okay.
friends. So Kaysen was friends with her stepdad. And because he's dead, he was a human. He died of old age like 100 years ago. He always looked out for Marcia. And when he's having a fancy party, he throws her some fancy food.
Oh, yeah.
So how does this connect to Lady Elizabeth Featherbottom?
It doesn't, and that's why I can't. I don't have any.
What do you want to happen? And I'll make some suggestions.
I just wanted to add to the drama here of here she's finding out that Kaysen actually shut her dad away for hundreds of years.
Oh, it could be that Lady Elizabeth Featherbottom's family was the one who initiated the contact between Casson and the now widowed Carmichaels. So even though it wasn't like Lady Elizabeth Featherbottom herself, she knows that her family helped make this connection. And so she feels a little responsible.
The Hardingwoods, the Hardingwoods and the Zaddocks they go way back. There's,
Right.
there's ties and connections there as well. Sure. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Marcia lived in Hardingwood in the first few years after her dad disappeared. And it was Lady Elizabeth Featherbottom who introduced her mom to her stepdad at a party with Kaysen.
Mm-hmm.
Works for me.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to spend this resolve token. And what do you want to change in the story? Like what big momentous action is happening because of the resolve token?
So all I'm really changing is I'm increasing the emotional depth here of learning that Kaysen had imprisoned her father for 2 centuries.
Yeah. So
Right,
now there's
she-
like an explicit, there is explicit betrayal now, not
Yeah.
just from like abandonment of what she thought was
And-
abandonment by her father, but was like now this person who's been helping her and her family is like, oh, he was the one who did it.
And if I need to have something materially happen here, could it just be that Zidane stumbles into this conversation just as that reveal happens?
Yeah, Honda is telling Marcia that he's her dad, and Zidane overhears that, and Marcia is shocked that Kaysen, who maybe patroned her family through the stepdad, and through Lady Elizabeth Featherbottom's town that she's mayor of.
Hardingwood.
Maybe the stepdad worked in Hardingwood. Yeah. That the shock of that betrayal echoes across, oh no, Marcia's face. I was doing a 3-strike you're dead system for how many shocks this old lady's heart could take.
Oh,
And
no.
that unfortunately does it.
Oh, no.
Congratulations, you killed my
So-
child.
So
But she says something before she dies. Yeah.
wait,
And
Bill would like to spend a resolve to see that through the portal and come through and try to save her life.
yeah, you got some good heart medicine skills, Bill.
Well, I mean, Bill, he was a woods guy. He probably knows CPR.
Okay, we're doing CPR. We can do CPR. She is only in a coma because of Bill jumping through a portal, launching himself at this party Darude's Sandstorm is still playing in the background as he leaps through the air and starts with, stone hands would probably be good at CPR. You gotta be strong. And he starts CPR as Marcia goes. Her last words before she passed out and went into a coma and her heart is now being punched artificially were, Zolta would have loved to see you. Push on chest, push on chest, push on chest, push on chest. Bill, you got to get that oxygen pumping. Pump. Actually, how close is Darude's Sandstorm's beat per minute to the right beat per minute for CPR?
I don't know, but Obsidiana at this point is going to look pointedly at Mary and say something like, wow, if somebody had magic, perhaps they could save her.
You got about 1.5 minutes to decide, Mary, before her brain starts to die.
Oh my God.
What
Perfect.
a shame.
I'm going to use an inner conflict. So one of my goals is learn more about my magical power. Mary kind of like looks to Erebus, just looking for guidance, but then realizes that she needs to make this decision on her own. And so she goes to Obsidiana and says very quietly, but still loud enough to be heard over Darude's Sandstorm, teach me how to save her. And I don't know, just tell me how.
Oh, dang. Obsidiana's got one resolve token left.
So you said that to Obsidiana?
Yes, correct.
Oh, okay. Here, just what you need to do is open up your magic and let it flow through me into her. I know how to shape it to save her life.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to need a resolve token spent by Obsidiana's character. Mary, do you accept it? You can save Marcia if you do this, Mary.
You can put conditions on it too.
I know. On the condition that Obsidiana actually does shape the magic to save Marcia's life. Mary's not going to worry about specifics of what saving a life looks like, but she wants that. That's the condition for the resolve token.
Okay.
Okay. God. Okay. So Mary very, very reluctantly puts a hand on Obsidiana's shoulder and just totally releases the floodgates on her magic.
And it's like a whirlpool just waiting to suck that in. Just absolute, like there's a void in Obsidiana where magic is supposed to be. And yes, she puts a hand on Marcia and the color and bloom comes back into, the breath comes back to Marcia and she starts to breathe. And you can see that she's actually de-aging as she breathes and comes back to life. But that whirlpool is sucking away all of your magic, Mary.
Mary, you feel like your heart beating in your chest, moving to your shoulder, moving down your arm to your elbow, moving to your forearm, to your wrist, to your fingertips. It's gone. It's in Obsidiana now.
No!
And with that, we're going to wrap it up. Part 1. Marcia looks better than she ever has.
Can Bill
Obsidiana
say
does
one
too.
thing? Can Bill say one thing? He
Yeah.
looks over at Mary, holds her hand, and says, "That was very heroic. I'm proud of you."
Oh.
Also, Darude's Sandstorm is at 136 beats per minute.
Perfect. Isn't it 140 for...
136.
Excellent. That is actually... right? CPR is 140?
No, it's
I
120.
think so.
120. A little bit too
Yeah.
fast. Okay. Too fast, you guys.
Little too fast.
All right. Joining us for part 1 were... Nugh. Bill.
Well, this didn't go as planned.
Zidane.
Oh, I've got some trauma.
And Mary.
Ditto. And if you'd like to leave a review, we'd really appreciate it. Especially me. This hurts right now. Leave a 5-star review to make all of us feel better on iTunes, and we'll read it aloud. Okay, I need a break. Let's go to break. Bye.
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 Today's mid-episode shout-out is, quote, "If he hears this, I want to say thanks to my high school theatre teacher, Raj. I don't think you ever knew I became a teacher because of you. Your guidance and passion for education shaped my life. I hope you know you are truly appreciated." End quote. You can arrange for us to read your shout-out at firebreathingkittenspodcast.com. Did you know? We have paperback, ebook, hardcover, and audiobook adaptations of our adventures on Amazon and Audible. Is there an episode of FBK that would make someone you know smile? Telling them about it would help us. Thank you.
Zidane last time.
Hello.
Mary last time. Bill last time. Nugh last time.
Good day.
Excellent. Welcome back to Fire Breathing Kittens. We return to Good Society Part 2. Normally, in a Fire Breathing Kittens episode, we would recap what happened in Part 1. Good Society has formalized this into the reputation phase, where we're going to talk about what the major characters did in Part 1 and assess their behavior against the reputation criteria. If you meet the criteria, you can create or gain a reputation tag. And if you have 3 reputation tags, either positive or negative, you will trigger that reputation condition or reward if that is applicable. And if you no longer have 3 from a past session, if you're playing long term, you'll remove 1 if it doesn't fit anymore. Who wants to go first to argue in favor of gaining a reputation tag?
I can go first. I think, can we gain more than 1 or only 1?
You can gain as many as you met the behavior criteria for.
Okay.
So I've seen
I
people
think-
gain 3 during this phase.
I think Bill acted in service to duty and compromised his own desires more than once. I think, well, definitely coming back through the portal to try to save the lady rather than just leave the situation, which is what he really wanted to do. I think that's 1. I think he acted or made a sacrifice and
Before
denied
you
his own
move on to your next one, each tag is a word, an adjective that is added to your description. Which tag was that first one? You can use one of the suggested words or create a word.
Where are those? I'm sorry.
So you see the list of adjectives? It says positive reputation tags, and you've circled one of them to start.
Yes. I think honorable,
Okay.
because I have brave, steadfast, capable, and forthright, and I think honorable fits that the best.
Yes. And remember, in an upcoming novel chapter phase, you can scratch that off to spend it like a resolve token if you act honorably.
Okay. And then I made a sacrifice by basically making a fool of myself on the dance floor to make people not look at the window jumping out.
What positive
and
reputation tag are you angling for there?
Forthright.
Okay.
Oh,
This-
I think probably capable.
capable. Yeah. Yeah. Capable is better than forthright because you were actually deceptive in
Yeah.
in your. Okay. Great. So you are
That's all I
capable,
got.
honorable, and your starting tag was.
Steadfast.
Okay. You will activate a positive reputation condition. Which one do you activate?
I think patronage, an important person takes an interest in furthering my career. I don't know who, but maybe someone saw me rescue what's-her-face and is like, he is a good guy. He's not actually a pirate and a villain. Who do you think would be best for that?
Perhaps Crosby doesn't like you. He's rich, though. Adam is
So-
pretty...
So Lady Featherbottom does have in the back of her mind the idea that privateering could be a thing that she could sponsor.
So maybe she saw me act honorably.
Yes, let's have a scene in part 2 where Lady Featherbottom, so I'm writing down, this is my role as a facilitator. I'm saying Feather and Bill hire privateer, bandit. You're going to gain a a patron who doesn't think that you're a great guard for her town. She thinks that you're a guard that can be convinced with coin to protect her town. And that's going to be an interesting conversation because you, of course, don't desire money, you desire honor. So let's have that scene in part 2 where you gain a patron. Okay, noted. Deal. Would you like to gain any negative reputation tags? They spend like coin. All coin is good. For the listener, the joke there was you can spend negative reputation tags like resolve tokens if you act them out in a scene.
I think acted on a desire in a way that compromised your duty or morality. I ran away rather than confronted them and try to convince them. And I think that would be either reckless or aloof for the negative tag.
Yeah, and in our episode recap, describe that scene a little bit.
Everyone was booing Bill and telling him, he was a pirate and a bandit and a murderer. And he slunk off into the woods and temporarily escaped into fairyland.
So true. So true. Okay, yeah, you gained that negative reputation tag. Okay, who's next? Summarize what you did in part 1 and the reputation tags you gained from that behavior.
So for Mary, I think she can gain a positive tag from acting in the service of duty or morality in a way that compromised your desires, in helping save Marcia, but then having to cooperate with Obsidiana. So I would say novel for that because it is a very new way of doing things and it's not something she ever would have thought to do before. And then I would take a second or posit a second positive tag with acted in obedience to society's conventions despite considerable hardship in doing so. Well, I don't know if it's considerable hardship. I was thinking the arm wrestling stuff because that's not something she normally would have done.
She was willing to go outside her comfort zone quite a lot in this episode.
Yeah. So I would say ambitious for that positive tag.
Yep. That was ambition. And in fact, it was successful. You ended up emerging from that party as the leading lady candidate for Kaysen's arranged marriage to Jessup.
So that gives me ambitious, novel, and the one I started with, industrious. So that's 3 positive tags. I would like to choose my reputation goal or perk, I guess, as angelic temperament. Choose one connection you depend upon while this boon is active. This connection is devoted to you and believes you can do no wrong. I would very much like to keep Erebus on my side for all things. So, I'm going to have that reputation perk apply to Erebus.
Yeah, what kind of scene would you envision that to be? Think about that as you approach part 2. Erebus will express his, you said angelic temperament that you have, his pride of your angelic temperament. Mm-hmm. Do you have any negative tags?
I do think I deserve at least one for calling Obsidiana out in public and then just getting completely demolished socially. Acted in an uncouth, low class, or vulgar manner. And I'll take the negative tag vulgar for that.
Yes. And describe that. That was when you...
Yeah, that was when she was trying to... So when Obsidiana was trying to further add quote unquote proof to Bill's banditry. And Mary stepped in and basically called her out as a liar. But Obsidiana was able to take that very easily and turn it on its face or turn it on its head back to Mary and just basically let it have no effect. So Mary made a fool of herself in that respect.
That's true. Remember, you can spend that resolve token like coin, or I'm sorry, that reputation tag like a resolve token coin, and don't be afraid to spend that in part 2. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
All right.
Because Nugh didn't do a whole lot. I think I acted in contravention to society's conventions because I came to this party with the intention of backing up what is almost assuredly a violent confrontation. And that's not what you're supposed to do at a party.
That's correct.
So, and I did in fact act as backup to a violent confrontation. So
you did.
Yeah. I think I'm going to take the negative tag unpredictable for that.
Yes, because you rushed into that hallway and you delayed those guards by many minutes. The guards were not a part of that scene at all.
Yes. My inner conflict is between freedom and duty, which I kind of feel like I took some action.
Oh, we're not doing inner conflict in this moment.
We're not doing inner
We're doing reputation tags. Do you have any other reputation tags?
I really only did one thing, so no.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's funny how you think your main character is going to be like most of your time, and then the connections are so fun, you know. All right, we're going to do more Nugh in part 2, though. I'd like you to think of some scenes where Nugh would be involved and be ready to suggest those during the novel chapter part. Zidane's player? Do you have any?
Yeah.
Did you gain any reputation tags?
I think I also only gained a negative reputation because I know I didn't do anything positive. I would actually say, because I didn't act in service of a duty that compromised my desires, I very much acted on my desires. I did not do anything in obedience to society's conventions because I was going to murder a guy in his house at a party.
It sounds like we might bump you up to 3 negative reputation tags and activate one of the negative. That's never happened. Let's do it.
So, well, here's the negative traits, though. So I acted in contrivance of society's conventions. So, yes, because I did not go there to have a good time. I went there I went there for my own personal good time.
What tag would you gain for that?
Dangerous.
Yeah, you're a bit dangerous. Yeah. You snuck into a party, used a pseudonym, and you made the host flee through a window.
Yes, I never even say my pseudonym. I'm so bummed out about that. But I don't think I mean, there's the next one that says acted on desire in a way that compromised your duty or morality. Not sure if that was done. But I did presume to order instructor to make a demand of someone of a higher rank. So I did do that. So I would say my last negative trait is stupid.
Yeah, choose one of your negative reputation conditions and activate it.
So I have fracture. Someone close to you is appalled by your behavior and refuses to talk to you. Or revenge. A connection turns against you and spreads rumors and malice behind your back. So I would say, and they both work, because it would have to be someone that's close to him. I just don't know.
Can I make a
doesn't...
suggestion?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say Marcia.
Yeah.
Your daughter doesn't talk to you anymore. That's just a suggestion.
She does have to pick one of the two to be her favorite. So let's have the favorite picking scene where you guys both visit her in the hospital and she's going to decide how she feels about you two. Now she has not just one dad, but 2. 2 dads. Okay, so Zidane and Honda visiting Marcia in the hospital. And you just picked fracture. So either Honda or Marcia is going to end up completely abandoning you at the end of that scene. Wow.
Yep.
Okay, that's some drama. Oof. So far, I have a few scenes written down. I'm gonna take note of those going into part 2. Of course, you guys feel free to suggest scenes. But before we get there, let's do the rumor and scandal phase. This works like the letter C, where you start at one end and you go to the end, right? Like I'm drawing in the air. Podcast listeners can't see that. Imagine drawing the letter C. And then from the end, you go back to the beginning. So that's the analogy. The first person is going to make a rumor. The second person can either make a rumor or spread that first rumor. The third person can either make a new rumor or spread one of the previous 2 rumors. And the last person gets to take 2 actions in a row, make or spread a rumor, and then it goes back to the person before them, back to the person before them, and ends with the person who went first. See? So it's like the letter C. Okay, let's start with who wants to go first and last. You will create a rumor, and hopefully someone has spread it. If not, you have the ultimate choice of which rumor to turn active at the end. Who wants to go first and last? Who has a rumor?
The rumor can be true, correct?
The rumor can be true or false. If it is not spread, people will have heard it whispered, but it can't impact the story. And if it is spread, it has been so widely spread that it impacts people's opinions.
I have one.
Yes.
I can go first.
Yes.
That Zidane is a hired killer, and he was trying to assassinate Cassin at this event.
I am writing this on the public information page. Zidane is a hired killer, was hired to kill Cassin at this event, at the party. It has not yet been spread. Noted. Does anyone else have a rumor? Who wants to go next? You can either spread or create a rumor.
I'm
going to spread it. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, go for it.
I'm going
Okay.
second. I'm going to spread that rumor.
Nugh's player spreads that rumor.
We're going to tarnish your reputation.
He was going to tarnish it himself, so it's all good.
We're giving you some real pathos to work with in your scene.
Yeah.
Who wants to go next? You can create a new rumor.
I'll go next. I want to create a rumor that a prodigal little girl saved the life of Marcia Carmichael.
A prodigal, like a genius?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Prodigious. It would not be prodigal. It'd be prodigious.
Prodigious genius child saved the life of Marcia Carmichael. And what impact to the story would that make? Like, how do you want that to be important? Does this child have, like, a newspaper article written about her? Featuring the Wonder Kid.
Yeah. Let's say Obsidiana gets interviewed and is able to spread her good reputation around high society.
Is positive, yeah. Obsidiana was interviewed and her reputation is positive in high society. Okay, now that hasn't been spread yet, but that has been proposed.
I would say to spread that rumor, since a lot of people saw it and de-aged the person.
That's true. Okay, Zidane goes next, and Zidane has spread that rumor. So far, the order was Bill, Nugh, Mary, Zidane. So that means, Zidane, you go a second time. You have spread that rumor that the prodigious genius child saved the life of Marcia Carmichael and Obsidiana was interviewed and her reputation is positive in high society. What rumor do you create?
I would say then this would be a rumor is starting to form about Kazan, about how he might have done some dirty dealings in the distant past. That's kind of coming to light.
Okay. Kaysen did bad things in the past. Which bad things?
The freezing people, the getting competition out of the way through less than scrupulous means.
Froze competitors to get them out of the way. And how does that impact? Do you want to make that mean something? Does his business suffer? Does his marriage match come into question?
I would say the marriage match would start to kind of get a little questionable because it's shaken the society.
Right. Marriage match is now less desirable, but he's still just as rich.
Yes.
Okay. Now someone has to spread that for that to come into effect. Next up is Mary's player. Would you like to create a new rumor or spread the Kaysen marriage match less desirable, which actually works against your interests, so probably not.
Yeah, no, I'm personally not going to spread that one. Although I don't know, because a good reputation is part of my goals. So if their reputation is not as great, I'm not going to spread it. It's a little too risky for me. The others can if they'd like, but I'm going to create a new rumor that I think I'll make a new rumor that the Fire-Breathing Kittens Guild hires pirates and monsters.
Interesting.
And so that's going to, materially, that would, I think, cause people to trust some of the more unorthodox looking members of the FPK less.
Okay. And that has not been spread yet. Noted. So we are to Nugh's player. There are 2 rumors that have not been spread. that FBK hires pirates and monsters, which makes FBK less trustworthy to high society, and that Kaysen is less good of a marriage match because he did bad things to his competitors in the past, freezing them to get them out of the way. Or you could create a new rumor that maybe Bill might spread.
Right. Does the rumor need to come out of this first half, the first scene?
Nope.
Then I'm going to make a rumor that potentially could set things up for the second half, which is the rumor that Nugh is actually Algernon Jocelyn in, quote, disguise.
Ooh.
So you leave it up to me to decide.
One of three things, Bill. That Kaysen did bad things in the past and froze competitors to get them out of the way and marriage match is less desirable. That FBK hires pirates and monsters, which would make FBK lower in high society's esteem. Or that Nugh is actually Algernon Jocelyn, quote, in disguise.
I feel like since Nugh got so ignored in part 1, we'll give Nugh this rumor to put him front and center that it's Algernon Jocelyn in disguise, because I'm sorry, I love Nugh, and Nugh should have had more screen time in part 1. I didn't mean to step on you, Nugh.
Oh, no. I love that you did the dance-off. That was so fantastic. I'm a big fan of dance-offs.
I have copied and pasted this public information list to everybody. You can use any spread rumor like a resolve token to really impact the story. We are going to fade out the rumors that have not been spread, and if we come back to when you play this game long term, you'll come back to rumors that have not been spread, and if they make it 2 rumor and scandal phases, what is the math on that? 2 sessions, they get crossed off because they weren't interesting enough to be spread. Next up is the epistolary section. You guys can spend your resolve tokens. And now since this costs resolve tokens, this is my personal one-shot change of rules. Normally, the internal conflict section is done at the very end of the session, but I'm going to do it now to give you guys some resolve tokens to spend during the epistolary and novel chapter that we're about to do, because this is a one-shot and I feel like it should have an impact on the game. And if we did it at the very end, we're not going to play this again, giving you resolve tokens when you're like, okay, and then the game ends. That's not the right timing for it. So we're going to do it now. Your inner conflict are 2 things that if you accomplish one, it takes you further from accomplishing the other. Can you all perhaps look at your list of internal conflict things and justify getting a resolve token by checking a box on your internal conflict list? And then you all get a resolve token back to spend in the epistolary?
Yes.
Nugh, what did you do?
I did one thing, but it was to basically, be muscle for somebody at a party, which degraded my reputation in pursuit of duty to the kittens, and in this case to Zidane.
Nugh, I'm putting this resolve token on my tracker of yours. You can check off that box, and until you accomplish your goal, that box remains checked, and then once you accomplish one or the other of your 2 goals, you make a new internal conflict. You now have 2 resolve tokens, and remember, you still have that monologue token. You've got to spend that at some point before the end of the session. Who'd like to go next?
Yes.
I'll go. So my inner conflicts have been learning his past and letting go of his past. I actually feel like Zidane is trying to let go of his past now. He's not doing it in the most emotionally healthy way or mentally healthy way. But I would say because his daughter realistically now no longer will trust him. Actually, no, that's actually a thing that happened. It's fractured. He sacrificed something important to try and let go of his past, even though it kind of weirdly works hand in hand in a really messed up kind of way. Actually, take it back there. I just read the thing below. I hurt or pushed someone away. Important for me for that. And that was accomplished. I also degraded my reputation for this as well.
Yeah, I'm going to give you that you hurt or pushed away someone, because what did you say to do that?
When I was, I slammed against the wall and tried to choke him to death. But he broke free and ran out the window.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that was when you were trying to let go of your past.
It's in his own messed up kind of way, yeah, because it's like the only connection he's aware of anymore, because up until the end of it, he didn't even know he had a daughter. And he, by doing that and then giving chase publicly, that wound up, with the fracture, and it pushed someone away for that.
Okay, so you're saying that by pushing Kaysen up against a wall and chasing him out a window, and this fracture that you're going to have with someone, we're not sure who, you're saying it's not Kaysen you fractured with, even though you literally fractured his bone possibly, that it's your daughter or your parallel universe reality self. I don't know. Maybe think about that. Consider that. We're going to come back to you. I'm going to ask you to think about your inner conflict. You're going to fracture with somebody. My suggestion is maybe with Kaysen, like that he's afraid of you now, or he thinks of you, like if you want to take advantage of this rumor that someone hired you to kill him, that maybe he thinks of you as a threat to his life now. And that would be going further into your backstory, because you're almost Liam Neesoning yourself into getting the truth through violence, that you're hunting down the leads and pursuing your past in the most violent and direct way you can.
Yeah, I guess I would be learning too.
Yeah, so think about that. We're going to come back to you. Who else had some inner conflict?
Mary definitely did. I think the one that best fits is your actions in pursuit of this side of the conflict destroyed your chance of successfully pursuing the other. In her efforts to help Marcia Carmichael and also try and learn a little bit about her magical power by trusting Obsidiana, she has now lost it. And without that magical power, she can't go home. So, yeah.
I'm going to just put this resolve token right on your sheet right there.
Thank
There you
you.
go. You have 3 now. I'll read out the totals after this.
And I think Bill also discovered what freedom means and what making your own choices means. And I think everyone calling him a pirate and a bandit and a murderer would definitely degrade my reputation as a hero.
Yeah, you made your own choice, and it was to join a banditry party. Yeah. And
I mean, he got tricked into it, but it was his own free choice to do it.
yeah. And apparently to be a pirate.
That too. Well, we'll see.
Yeah. You're definitely not making the hero choices that was planned for you when you were created. We're back to Zidane. All right. What's your inner conflict? Where are the two halves?
Learning his past and letting go of his past.
And you think that pushing Kaysen up against a wall was?
I mean, in a way, letting it go in a really messed up, convoluted kind of way. Because it's like
catharsis.
His last connection.
It was,
yes.
Here, I'm done with you. I've beaten you up. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Here's your resolve token back. I'm going to read off some totals. Zidane has 2, Erebus has 2, Merryweather has 1, Mary has 3, Crosby has 2, Honda has 1, Nugh has 2, Lady Elizabeth Featherbottom has 2. We'll get back to Obsidiana. Bill has 4. You had better spend some resolve tokens, Bill. Adam has 2 and Kaysen has 1. Obsidiana has 0 resolve tokens and is entirely at the mercy of the story. So let's talk about spending those resolve tokens that I've just read off. You guys, all your totals matched mine, right?
Yes.
No, actually, I said that I had Lady Elizabeth with just 1 token left, but if you are tracking it better than me, that's fine.
I'll err on the side of more. So you have 2 for Lady Elizabeth. All right. So during the epistolary, you can write letters, either from a major character or from a connection or to them, and you can change the story by this letter. Bill, you got to write a letter. You got 4 resolve tokens. So I want you to think about Bill's goals and how a letter to or from Bill or another character might help you accomplish those goals.
Can you come back to me?
Yes, I can. Mary, you've got 3 resolve tokens.
Yes, I would like to spend 1 writing a letter.
It can be to Mary. It can be from Mary. It can be about Mary to someone else. It can be false. It can be true. Your goals is probably, you're probably going to tell somebody about what happened to you, or they're going to talk about what happened to you. Can you still be a fire-breathing kitten with no magic?
I know. You know what? I'm going to write a letter to Anne, who is currently residing in Sadie's body. And I'm going to tell her everything that happened. And at the end of it all, basically like desperately asking, I've never been without magic. And now that I am, even though I was so ashamed of it, I need to get it back. It's a part of me. What do I do?
Excellent. So we're going to have a scene in part 2 where Anne has sent you an item that can get you magic power. It's either a map with an X on it. It's a book with a legend in it. It's an amulet with an undeciphered code on it and the pulse of magic deep within it. But Anne has used her extensive bank account to purchase some kind of magic for Mary and writes you a letter that says, Mary, you're the only reason why I'm still alive. Anything I can do to help you, I will. Thank you for saving me from Truckcoon. And I hope that this insert magic object here comforts you until we can next meet for tea. Oh, you know they drink some... was tea? No, that's before tea. But anyway, so we're going to meet for crumpets or something.
Yeah. There is like the beginnings of tea, maybe, for very high nobility, I think. So, yes, they're definitely meeting for tea.
Yeah, we're having at least a beer. All right. So, and some cheese.
You're talking about Elizabethan time?
Yeah, we don't really know history, but we're just guesstimating.
Oh, no, tea was like a major reason for the trade opening up to the east and like going for all of like all
why
of
Columbus was trying to find a
route
around with spices
right.
and tea.
Yeah.
We're meeting for tea.
was mostly for
Yeah.
We're meeting for tea.
I imagine it was still like a really rare, not rare, but it's like still kind of a luxury though at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So in this world, we're so thrilled to be able to have access to tea. Tea is happening, but that's after the episode. Mary, you've got a scene coming up in part 2 with your magic object. Does it behave like I expected? Does it not? You're going to find out. I sent you one. Do you want to write a second letter? So we're going to rotate. Think about what Crosby and Honda would have in letters. Let's go to the next person with a whole bunch of resolve tokens. I noticed Zidane and Erebus still have 2 resolve tokens. Want to do some letters?
Well, I had one. I got one back because I'm a raving lunatic. No, Zidane does not. Well, let me think about that for a minute.
Okay. We're going to move to Nugh's player. Nugh, let's create some scenes with you this time.
Sure.
Do you want to, and you're very eloquent when you write. Is
Yes.
it possible that you use that eloquence in letter form?
I think that if Nugh had someone to write to, that would absolutely be the case.
Okay, I'm going to spend a resolve token from the rumor that was spread that Nugh... Okay, so I'm going to spend it from Miss Alicia Garrick because of the rumor. Okay, she heard the rumor that Nugh is actually Algernon Jocelyn in disguise, and she has asked to meet you at a public place. She has asked to meet you at a coffee shop. This is basically Starbucks.
A tea shop.
Moon Dollars.
A tea shop, perhaps.
The same
even.
tea shop.
The same
that
tea
later
shop.
Anne and Mary will meet at. And Alicia has asked you for tea, and she wants an explanation. She says, you left me 12 years ago with no word. How dare you stand me up for 12 years and leave me at the altar? You jerk. Signed, Alicia, demanding an explanation at Moon Dollars on, it was Tuesday party, right? So on Thursday, you receive this letter on Wednesday, the day after the party, and it says, you better meet me there at 5, you jerk. You left me at the altar. And Nugh might not know what this letter means, but he does have a location and a time to go to.
100%. No idea, but he will write a very polite, if not almost poetic response that eloquently accepts her invitation. I would like to note that although Nugh didn't really have any screen time, the 3 words that he has for this episode are indeed, tragic, and birthday. So I think that anything that happened during the off-screen stuff during that party, anyone who spoke to him received a indeed reply. So everyone at the party just thinks he's like kind of terse, or he said, oh, tragic, and never used his like groaning voice. So I think that it's entirely likely that Alicia has no idea that he can't talk.
Exactly. Yes. All right. Do you want to write any letters from Lady Elizabeth Featherbottom? From Obsidian's out of tokens, so from Nugh maybe?
I kind of want. Okay, this is weird and awkward, but I kind of want Lady Elizabeth Featherbottom to write to Mary, requesting an apology for breaking her hand.
Yeah, you broke her hand.
Yeah.
Mary.
And I
with your magic.
And I think the way that this letter arrives is, at first I was so pleased to meet you. You are so striking, and I thought perhaps we could engage in some kind of friendship. And then, perhaps in pursuit of your ambition, you were overzealous. And now I have to dictate this letter because my hand is broken. I feel that perhaps you owe me satisfaction.
Wow.
Do I have to use a resolve token to answer that?
You have to think of a scene in the next part where you go visit her.
I see. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Because she has demanded an apology for her broken hand. So you should visit her with some
I've
kind
demanded satisfaction, whether that's an apology or a duel, I don't know, but we'll find out.
Bill, we're back to you. You have 4 resolve tokens. I want to see you write or receive 2 letters pursuing Bill's goals.
Bill would like to write a sincere letter of apology to Crosby Jameson and beg for his forgiveness. He realizes he's done wrong, and he wants Crosby to forgive him. And then the second letter is going to be to the Queen of the Fairies, apologizing for leaving her domain without her permission, and would like another invite sometimes because it seemed pretty cool there. And Bill made a fairy friend in one episode too. I forgot her name. But in Pixies and Pixie Puffs.
This is her, my friend.
Oh, then they know each other.
Yes, that's why she...
But
yeah, you know her.
Yeah.
She liked you last time too.
But he apologizes for leaving her domain without her permission and would like to come back sometime, perhaps.
Instead of a reply, you shall receive a small flower at your doorstep. What do you do with this flower? Think about it in the next scene. It's not just a normal flower.
I'd like to throw another letter out there for Mary and then one for Honda. For Mary, she's going to send...
Technically, each player can max it 2.
Oh, okay.
But-
then I'd rather just do the one for Mary then.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So I'll use one of Mary's resolve tokens, so she's down to 1 now, to send basically hate mail to Obsidiana. And much in the same vein as Lady Featherbottom, like probably taking some inspiration from the letter she received, Mary will demand satisfaction from Obsidiana for stealing her power and demand to meet.
Yes. Obsidiana, it's up to
I
you
make one...
if that happens or not. Yes, Bill.
I was going to say I want to make one small change to my letter to Crosby Jameson because Bill knows Nugh is good with words. He asks Nugh if he would help him write it because Bill is only like 2 years old and isn't great with words.
You're just so literal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a pebble.
So what I'm about to ask is this question is going to determine how I go forward. So is it confirmed? Because right before Marta almost died, before she was sandstormed back to life, is it confirmed that Zolta's dead? Was that the confirmation we were getting out of that?
What you heard was Zolta would have loved to see you, and you were probably interested in asking more by visiting her hospital room.
Yes. So that, because the reason I asked that though, because if she's alive or dead, but I would write basically like an apology letter. But of course, if she's alive, then it just goes to her, and then we forgot that scene from there. But if she's dead, then that changes the weight of the tone of it entirely.
She's
It determines
alive.
what I would write.
Yeah. So why don't
Okay.
you visit her in her hotel room and ask what's up with the name you mentioned? It's striking a chord deep within my memories. And I'm getting a flash of, like, in a movie when they show, like, dead spouses and there's always, like, that, like, bright white light and then, like, a little bit of hair and, like, a giggle and, like, sometimes a pillow.
Right.
Like, I remember that spouse.
Yeah. Because, yeah, just that part determines how the letter would go.
Yeah, you can't write a letter yet. You don't know who Zolta really is, but deep in your heart, you feel that was your wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You should probably talk to...
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We're definitely doing a hospital visit scene for sure. All right. Let me read off the resolve and monologue tokens. Monologue tokens, we have Zidane and Nugh. You got to use your monologue tokens. Resolve tokens, assume you're at 2 unless you're Merryweather, Mary, or Lady Elizabeth Featherbottom, Kaysen, or Honda. You all have 1. And Obsidiana has 0.
Question.
Yeah.
How does a connection get back resolve tokens?
Connections don't, but they can receive them for accepting chaos. And you are encouraged to
Okay.
accept chaos. Receive
Excellent.
the resolve tokens. All right. So we're in novel chapter section 2. We, just to let you guys know, it's 47 minutes. So we're going to do these scenes. Let me know. Is anybody hard stop at our... Okay, everyone's shaking their head no. All right. Okay, I might go 10 minutes over. The first scene is Alicia and Nugh at the coffee shop. Alicia is sitting at the coffee shop. She is a very well manicured, well taken care of lady. She's in her 30s or 40s. You know, she's not like super young, but she's not super old. And she is alone. She does not have her 9-year-old daughter with her. And she is drinking a matcha latte.
So Nugh will, I'm going to say Nugh is a regular. And so he has a regular order. So he doesn't even have to write it down or anything. He just goes up to the counter and they give him a mug of what is essentially mint tea. So it's an herbal, you know. And I don't know that he recognizes her. So he's looking around the crowd or the other patrons like he's lost.
One of the patrons is glaring at you. It's an attractive woman.
He will go over to that table and hold up the letter that was sent to him, sort of inquiringly.
Yes, I sent you that. Sit down.
Nugh sits. He has with him his slate and chalk and one of his poetry journals that he writes in.
She puts her hand on the table to touch her matcha latte and, without meaning to, unconsciously fiddles with a wedding ring.
Nugh doesn't react to that.
She looks down at her hands, realizes what she was doing, and puts her hands back in her lap and looks up at you and takes a deep sigh and says, engaging the rumor token, she spends... Algernon Jr. was sent to debtor's prison 12 years ago to pay off the Jocelyn family debts. She says, when did you get out of prison? What?
And then he takes out his slate and he writes, I was never in prison.
But I heard that you were sent to debtor's prison. If not that, then that's why you left me, right?
He erases the slate and writes, who are you?
She looks incredibly sad, and she looks at you and she says, was I just nothing to you? Did you forget me? 12 years have passed and I meant that little that you just forgot me entirely. You don't even know who I am?
And he again erases the slate and writes, I was created 12 years ago.
Created 12 years ago? No, you've existed for longer than that.
And Nugh pulls his collar down and shows the gigantic scar around his neck.
And the slightly different flesh color of the
and
chest.
the slightly different, yeah.
What? What? But what happened to Algernon? Are you just wearing his face like a mask?
And he just erases the slate and writes, I am so sorry.
But she looks shocked, and then tears fall down her face. Is that why you stood me up at the altar?
And he writes on the slate, I want to know too.
I never looked for him because of the family debt and the debtor's prison and the way the rest of them skipped town. Are you telling me that he didn't go to prison, that he died?
Indeed.
She reaches out and touches your face.
I let her.
And then recoils. He's gone? She stands up from the table. She looks nauseous.
I hold out the journal. I hold the journal out to her.
Is this his thoughts? His last words?
And I write on the slate, my thoughts, my words.
What are you? She spills the matcha latte in her haste to leave. She doesn't take the book and she flees. She looks really nauseous. After having met the meat puppet made out of her fiance.
That's right. And Nugh just sits there for a very long time and he puts his head in his hands and I think he's probably crying.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm crying too. This is like the first time that was just so sad.
Yeah. I usually play Nugh sort of comedic, but he's got pathos.
We're gonna rotate. We're gonna rotate a little bit. Let's rotate to two different people. Kaysen wants Mary to marry Jessup.
Oh, right. I briefly forgot about that thread.
Mary, you have received a formal invitation, like an arranged marriage invitation. It's got gold leaf on the invitation. From Kaysen to officially meet family to family to discuss a joining of hands and to bring your lawyer.
I don't think Mary has a lawyer.
If you don't have a lawyer, one will be provided for you.
Okay.
And you can circle an option from the following list of prepaid retainers.
Okay.
Because you got to arrange the prenup. Usually how that works in real life is that one party pays for both people to have a lawyer and the second party picks their own lawyer. For prenups, hey, now you guys are more familiar with prenups. All right, so what happens when you show up to, where would this be at, Kaysen's player?
I would say probably at the mansion to sort of overwow her with, look how great of a life you'd be getting.
Yeah, take it away.
So Mary shows up in the same dress that she wore to the party because she doesn't have anything nicer. But she does arrive. She doesn't bring Erebus. So she arrives by herself and is just kind of like standing around in the foyer, not really knowing where to go or what to do.
I think a manservant would greet you and bring you into the formal living room where Kaysen is waiting for you. Where he goes, oh, yes, hello, Elizabeth, darling, welcome. I hope I'm not being too presumptuous by calling you Mary Elizabeth, or should I call you by your title?
Mary is my given name, so Mary is fine.
Ah, Mary, well, welcome to what I hope shall be your home someday, yes. Would you like to take a seat and look over the papers I have drawn up for you and my son?
Of course. And she'll go and sit down and is there I do not have my own lawyer for this. Might I ask your help in providing one?
Of course, I'm sure I can find a lawyer lying around. He has a lawyer come in and explain to you. It's a very standard prenuptial agreement. Getting married, you can't come after the wealth of the family under any circumstances. However else high society does that kind of stuff, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't have any assets at all, really. I mean, she's not telling them about the lack of her magical power, but
I mean, he would go on about, you saved that woman at the party. I know Obsidiana got credit for it, but my staff told me it was really you who did it.
she definitely brightens at that.
Now, of course, as a member of the gentry, you would have to give up your life as an adventurer and as a fire-breathing kitten. They're a guild, darling. You'll never have to work another day in your life. A life of leisure is ahead of you.
Oh my goodness. Mary is legitimately conflicted right now because she's about to get the luxurious, noble life that she's always aspired to have. And realistically knew she couldn't get that. So in her previous life, she was trying to get there as reasonably, trying to get just a higher step up. And this is so much more than that. But at the same time, if she promises to get married, then it's like she gives up her chance to be an adventurer, to learn more about herself, but also of going back home. She technically has a fiance back in London.
You've also never met this guy. I would just like to point that out.
No, true.
There's a picture on the wall, and he's portrayed very handsomely.
Exactly. She didn't meet her other fiance, maybe once or twice. That was also arranged. So it's not like this is anything new. Gosh, this is so hard. I kind of want to come back in a little bit. Is that okay?
Yeah.
We have to finish the scene. Scene break. Okay.
Nugh is walking away from the coffee shop, and he runs into Adam Shelley.
Nugh, good to see ya, I guess. You doing anything these days? Doing anything with your poetry?
So Nugh is coming out, and he's looking pretty rough. When he runs into Adam, and Adam says that he holds the poetry journal a little bit closer to his chest and says, "Indeed."
Well, I know you have a lot of talent. Can I see what you've got there?
Nugh holds out the journal to him a little hesitantly, but
I assume it's very good. Is it very good poetry?
It's very good, and a lot of it has to do with him questioning what his responsibility is to the people whose bodies gave him life. So it's a lot of these poems are sort of this existential asking, who am I if I am somebody else? There's a reason he was bringing it to Alicia.
As he's reading it, he's like, I know a guy who publishes poems. Listen, we can put this in an anthology. I'll just slap my name on it as, a co-producer, a co-writer, whatever, and we can get this published. It'll be amazing. What do you say?
Facilitator suggestion, have Adam Shelley spend a resolve token at this moment. And if so, Adam will gain 10% of the sales from this poem book.
Yeah,
This would be negotiation because Nugh does not want to give Adam credit.
Oh, okay. So,
And in fact, I'm going to hold up the slate where it says, "My words."
Okay, negotiation. Your name can't be on it, Adam. It would only say the publisher's house name, but you would still get 10% of the profits.
What if I'm in it as an editor?
Negotiation. Trying to think of how Nugh would put this. Scratching off the slate. Then you would have to be a little more literate than you are.
Ooh, sick burn.
Damn. 15% and my name stays off of it.
Fine. Indeed.
Nugh, you've gained a resolve token from Adam Shelley. You have 3 now.
I do. And my poems are going to be more widely published.
Your poems are going to be so widely published. In fact, you can spend a resolve token now to choose the level of your success. You going J.K. Rowling, or you going Jane Austen sold 4 copies of one of her books before she died.
Well,
in time, Nugh will be very, very renowned for his
Jane Austen.
poetry. Yeah.
Right
No,
now,
no, no.
Let me ask-
in his lifetime,
Oh,
he'll be J.K.
Rowling.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, spend
Yeah.
resolve token. No,
Minus
except
the-
Without
hate.
the transphobia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Nugh. Did you give the book to Adam to do it, or are you guys going together to the publisher to get it done?
I think we're going to go to the publisher. Nugh does not trust Adam that much.
That's a wise choice, because I was going to screw you if you'd just given him the book.
We're friends, but Adam is what taught Nugh about artistic jealousy. So, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, wise choice. He was going to keep your name off it entirely, and it was going to be poems by him.
Okay, and because of how renowned you are, Alicia sees the poems. Now, I don't know how you want that to impact future games, but crying to herself after putting her daughter to bed one night, she reads your poems.
Okay, that's just heartbreaking, but we'll deal with that in a future episode. Awesome. Yeah, I like it. All right.
Gotta spread the trauma.
We're back to Mary. Mary, you have just been proposed to by somebody's dad.
Yes. She takes a little longer than is customary to think this over. And
I'd like to think in that whole scene, she was just sitting there silently looking at it with her mouth, like in real time.
Yeah. Exactly. And she puts the pen down and says, "I sincerely apologize, but I must refuse your offer."
Well, darling, if the monthly stipend isn't enough, we can definitely increase it.
'Tis not a matter of money. Indeed, believe me, the money is very tempting. But I've come to realize that is not truly what I want.
Well, darling, we have almost limitless resources. Whatever you want can be purchased for you.
Canst thou purchase loyalty or honor? Or
Let me call one of my guards and you tell me that.
I do apologize, sir. I would so enjoy being part of this family and having that stability, but I cannot in good conscience accept there's something else that I must do, and I fear I will be unsatisfied until I see that fulfilled.
Well, I guess it's your choice then.
So Mary will get up and, like, wringing her hands in her skirts the entire time she walks out of the manor and takes one last look before the doors close on her on what she very easily could have had.
As you look up at the building, there's something moving in that window on the second story. Meriwether, what you doing?
That's right. He's still there. He just wanted to steal stuff. Now he's got a full-time job. This isn't what I signed up for.
But your
So-
boss, Kaysen, is downstairs distracted by the marriage proposal. Mary's outside having her last thought. Sorry I interrupted you. What was your last thought as you walked away?
No, she just, that little bit of movement catches her eye, but she doesn't want to stay a minute longer because her resolve weakens the longer she's here. And so she turns around and walks out of the estate and goes to find Obsidiana.
Nice. Okay. Meanwhile, Kaysen's room is completely unattended. Meriwether is cleaning it right now. Kaysen's downstairs.
Cleaning
and
it.
Meriwether is wiping, like, the bedside dresser with a cloth when he stands up and thinks to himself and looks around. What do you do, Meriwether?
You know, it's only been like a day or two since the party, right? Like, it's pretty recently after. It's like, I didn't sign up to actually, like, work for this guy. Like, I'm in his bedroom. He's probably got some cool stuff, valuable stuff in here that he keeps close to the heart. And I'm just going to, like, I'm cleaning, like, a dresser. I'm just going to open up the top drawer of the dresser and see if there's anything fun inside.
You have one resolve token left, Meriwether.
Well, use it or lose it. Let us burn that resolve token.
Score of a lifetime.
What did you find?
It's going to be like he rummages through, some of the stuff. It's just like clothes and things like that. It's always the bottom drawer where the fun stuff really is, hidden. And he finds a very old leather-bound book. I can't exactly quite case exactly how old the book is, but he flips it open and he starts looking through it, see if maybe it's like some weird first edition novel or whatever. But he starts to see like it's a list of names, some crossed out, some still solid, some, just kind of, it's basically all it is, whether it's crossed out or not. And then he doesn't recognize hardly any of them because of how old this book happens to be. But after the first like maybe 10, 15, 20 pages of this thing of having names he doesn't recognize, then kind of attached to it is like a list of what appears to be some form of like wrongs, quote unquote. And with the way it looks like it's kind of written down, it looks like it matches to like he flips back and forth and it's like it's matching to the pages, but it was deliberately written in a way to make it kind of confusing, unless you're also into crime, to figure out that he's just trying to obfuscate what it is he's looking at. And he's realizing as he's flipping through this that he found a ledger of what appears to be people that Kazan believes have, or that looks like have wronged, either legitimately or illegitimately, unknown at this point in time. It appears to be a book of a list of enemies, so to speak.
What do you do with that book?
Take it. I find this to be a delicious use of blackmail to get. It's kind of the ultimate pickpocket when you think about it. I can hold this guy. I can hold this elven man for ransom. It is the ultimate pickpocket.
Nice. And we will see that develop in a future adventure, listeners. For sure. Make sure to focus on that in future games. Let's look at Bill on the doorstep. What do you do with that white flower that has an unusual sparkle to it on your doorstep, Bill?
Is it like a cut flower or is it like a flower in a pot?
It is a cut flower with a single leaf. And it's petunia-like, relatively flat with distinct petals.
What I think Bill would actually probably do is find a little notch in his stone and try to wear it as a boutonniere almost.
Okay. Some things that you will note going forward with this flower are, 1, it does not decay, as if frozen in time. 2, it is unusually sparkly. And 3, add a magical property, because you still have 2 resolve tokens. So add a magical property to this flower. Does it summon you to the Fey world? Does it give you light in the darkness? Does it, I don't know, involve some trickery, because the Fey queen, the pixie queen's involved. And if it were a tiny effect and adorable like toothpicks, that'd be on brand.
It shrinks me down to the size of a fairy.
Nice!
Oh, that's perfect.
Yes. Okay. When you put the flower in your stone lapel, all of you shrinks to 4 inches tall. Then you can take it out and put it back in.
Yeah. Bill, this is a very different way to see the world. I kind of like it. He's used to being everyone seeing him no matter where he stands, and now he could literally shrink and run away if he needs to.
Nice. And to let you know, the Queen of the Fairies can be reached through this flower like a communication stone, but not like Crosby Jameson's Horizon communication stones. This is a different brand. Whoa, competing with their monopoly. Feather and Bill, higher privateer. Let's do that one last. Okay. Erebus and Mary, angelic temperament. Let's do that one. Mary, what do you tell your dad?
Erebus, I just turned down the best thing that could have happened to me in this life because of revenge. Did I make the right choice? I want to go after Obsidiana. I need to get my magic back and mayhaps return home, but the life I could have had here if I'd married into that family.
Well, this is going to be a difficult conversation, but truly, what does your heart tell you that you want to do? Is it really revenge?
In truth, 'tis a storm. I do not know.
Well, it's best, with any kind of turmoil going on in your life, it's best to, honestly, making a marriage decision like that while you have so much going on clouding your mind is a very bad idea. Something tells me that family and happiness there would have been fleeting.
But what if I have chosen a path of darkness?
And speaking of, Erebus, you just got this letter from Lady Elizabeth Featherbottom demanding recompense for a broken hand from your daughter.
Well, we'll get to this later. It's a rather trivial comparison to this existential crisis my foster daughter's going through.
I just do not know, Erebus. I feel such turmoil inside and heady of thought, and I do not want to become or be a bad person. But I don't know how I can. I don't know how I can't.
One of the most important things in life is to understand you're not alone in this situation. Starting off, you have me for help. You have your guild. They're there to help you as well. You're not suffering through this fight by yourself. You don't have to tackle things head on alone. You can ask for assistance.
I know the guild will help. They are capable. But Erebus, let us speak truth. You have no loyalties to me. You are kind and generous in keeping me in your home and for supporting me, but I'm not your daughter. I hope we can maintain our relationship, but I do fear losing your respect if the worst were to happen and I make poor decisions.
You are always able to run anything by me. That is without question. I may not be your father by blood, but I am your father here, now.
Mary just goes and gives him a hug. Oh, that's exactly what she needed to hear.
There.
I'm good with ending the scene here. That was good.
Aw. Okay, we've got some options. Favorite picking between Zidane and Honda for Marcia in the hospital, or Featherbottom demands apology for broken hand, or Mary discovers what magic object Anne sent her, or, yeah, your choice. Something else?
Since we have two scenes doing Featherbottom, maybe Bill and Mary go at the same time.
Yeah?
Just a thought.
Oh, yeah. No, we can. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, my proposal is I don't think it's going to go well between Featherbottom demanding an apology for her broken hand because Mary doesn't have any magic to fix it. So I thought we could end with Featherbottom hiring Bill as a privateer, which would really change your story if the town's behind you.
Let's do that then.
Okay, that's the most impactful. All right, Featherbottom, good luck. What do you do to get recompense for your broken hand from Mary? I'm wishing you the best in this scene. What happens?
Cool. So, does Mary seek Lady Featherbottom out?
Yeah, I'd say she'd go to, try and find, where she lives and call at her home, basically.
Okay. So her home in Nicomoy is a townhouse that she's rented for a few months. She actually lives elsewhere. She lives on an island, as I recall, correct?
She's the mayor of the town that
Hardingwood.
Bill was built to protect. So wherever Hardingwood is, she lives there she could be that rich politician who lives elsewhere, right? But in general, the mayors live in the towns.
Yes, she does. Anyway, okay. Maybe Hardingwood is not on for some reason I thought it was on an island, but it's not. Okay. So yes, she's the mayor of Hardingwood, but here in Nicomoy, she has a townhouse that she's rented for just a couple of months while she's here for reasons of her own.
So Mary will go and knock at the door of Lady Featherbottom's townhome.
And you're let in by a servant who looks suspiciously like Merryweather, but isn't. The lookalike gang is expanding their operations. And Lady Featherbottom lets you wait for a little bit in the parlor, and then comes down. You see that her hand is actually in a splint.
Aww. As soon as Lady Featherbottom appears, Mary will drop into a deep curtsy and immediately says, Lady Featherbottom, I'm so sincerely sorry. I cannot apologize enough for the damage I had done to your hand.
Have a seat.
Oh, she's in trouble. She goes, sits down, nervously wringing her hands.
The fire-breathing kitten's reputation has always been good, and yet your guild employs highwaymen, and you appear to be rather violent and impulsive. Was that simply a bad night?
'Twas not my best judgment. Indeed, I thought that you would put up more of a challenge. And at that time, I indeed was desperate. I must insist that the Fire-Breathing Kittens is a good guild and worthy of their good reputation. It is simply that all of us members are fallible. We are human, and you must forgive us our slights if you can. Though I do not intend to break your hand, and I will do what I must to right that injury.
When I first met you, I thought you were a lady of equal refinement to myself. Was my impression incorrect?
I would aspire to be in as dear of refinement as you, Lady Featherbottom. I must admit I am only one who aspires to your station.
I see. Well, you've apologized for the damage to my hand, and no other permanent damage has been suffered. I will recover. I suppose I can forgive you.
Oh, I do appreciate your generosity and mercy.
But let me ask you this. Given your hot temper, perhaps we'll call it, are there others you should forgive as well?
Oh. The temper flares, but she, especially in the presence of such a calm and gentle woman, she hides her hands like under her lap, but it's very clear, like her face just gets red. She says, "Maps, if they do deserve forgiveness, I would learn to bestow it. 'Tis a difficult thing to forgive, though, which is..."
It is. But we don't forgive for the other person. We forgive for ourselves.
I will take your words into deep consideration, my lady, and I thank you again.
Good luck to you, Lady Mary.
Yeah, Mary will take her leave. Lots to think about.
Mary has left Lady Featherbottom's estate, townhouse, and is walking down the road. There's a park with a bench, and exhausted, perhaps you find yourself sitting upon the bench. You remember that you had a package from Anne in Sadie's body. You have a brown paper package in your hand if you'd like to sit on the bench and open it.
I would very much like to.
You untie the twine and the brown paper, and you find a wooden box carved very intricately with beautiful decorations.
Oh. I will open the box gingerly.
The box opens with 2 brass hinges in the back of the lid. The lid opens and reveals a plush velvet interior, and sitting upon it, nestled inside, a round silver filigreed oval container. It's silver with embossment all up and down it in whirls and swirls, and it clearly opens with a hinge.
You said this is a container?
Like a makeup compact.
Gotcha. Yeah. Mary runs her thumb over the embossed designs and truly appreciates the quality of this, and then opens it.
A tune plays. It's that familiar jig that used to play at home. And instead of a makeup compact or a mirror, it's an illusion screen. Anne has summoned images of your homeland, of things familiar to you. Festivals you attended together in the past, food you ate and haven't been able to find here, people you haven't seen in ages. Laughing, smiling, dancing, the images play across the screen.
Mary just holds it and cries. It's like the first time she's really allowed herself to really take in the fact that she's not home, and maybe she can't get home, but maybe she also doesn't want to go home. This is really bringing a lot of her turmoil front and center, but she really appreciates it.
And scene. Zidane, you're in the hospital. Your daughter's in the hospital. She's 200 years old, but dang, does she look only 100. It's amazing. She's doing really well, and as the hospital worker lifts the stethoscope from her chest, they look astonished and say, "Your heart's never been better. It sounds as young as a 20-year-old's."
There's a lot of emotion going on in him right now because he's not entirely sure how to proceed at this moment.
The medical technician or expert leaves the room, and having said, "We're going to keep you here overnight for observation in case sometimes these things are temporary, but if it lasts until tomorrow, you're free to go, and honestly, I wish you well. That'll be $10 billion. Thank you."
Yeah, it's good to know some things haven't changed. So I'm envisioning the scene as he's standing at the foot of, the bed or whatever. And it's an instance where he is at not a complete loss for words. Some of his boisterousness does deflate a little bit. And he just looks at Marcia and says, hello, daughter, I guess?
Yes, you do match the painting that Mother had on the mantle, and so did that other man. Oh, there he comes now. Honda, you're there. Both of you. Oh, goodness.
Yeah. Honda comes in and is like, yeah, hello. I did not expect you to be here.
Who's carrying flowers?
I would have.
I think Honda would have too.
Nice. She accepts both flower bouquets. She's got them on her lap in the bed.
It's like, I'm sure you must have questions for both of us. Our stories are very similar, but also differ in several ways.
Honestly, when I was younger, I had so many questions. Growing up, at first, I blamed myself for not remembering you. All I had was your picture to go on. But then, I had a very nice human stepdad, and he was really my father. So I do have some inherited disease risk questions to ask you. But honestly, at this point in my life, I've really lived a very satisfying. I've had a nice journey. I mean, I did have a dad. It just wasn't you. Have you talked to Mom?
I'll fully admit up until recently, recently was 6 months ago, but I didn't actually even know I was married. Part of what happened to me was I was frozen by Kazan, and when a fellow named Kane broke me out of the temporal stasis, my memories were broken. I remembered the basics, at least what I considered to be basics, I assume, but I didn't know I had a family. I didn't know any of that. So the answer to the question is no.
Does Mom know you're here?
No.
I actually came to ask if you could connect us. The thawing process for me was somewhat different, and I did retain the memories of you and your mother. That is entirely the reason I came to this parallel universe, was to meet you. Because in my home world, I didn't get the chance.
I'm dead in another parallel universe. It keeps happening. I think I'm the last one. Anyway, well, I can tell her you're around, and I can see if she would like your address, but I don't know which of you to give her your information. I guess I should give her both of yours information and let her pick, but she's not single.
Oh, I wouldn't have expected anything otherwise. It's been 200 years. That's a long time to hold a candle.
I'm really glad for her, if we're being honest.
Okay, but I don't like her current boyfriend. So,
well then screw him.
Well, who's the current boyfriend?
Maybe she should tell you. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take your information, your contact information from both of you.
Honda just kind of like looks around. Honda doesn't have contact information in this. So he just kind of like sidles over to Zidane and is like, I mean, I don't want to think of us as competitors for this, but I would love it if you could share the information you end up getting.
Oh, absolutely. I wasn't going to keep this one close to the chest. I was going to make sure it was presented to both of us.
Oh, I appreciate that. Because I'm not going to lie. I initially came, I didn't really know if you knew you had a family, and I didn't want to step on toes or cause, memory trauma.
No.
No,
trust me. I was in a BDSM dungeon when I found out I was married. It doesn't get more dramatic than that.
We're going to have to grab a couple beers and talk about that. I was in I was deep in some kind of like whiskey tasting bar when I found out that my version of my wife and daughter had died, and that was a rough night.
Yeah, I could see that too. Truthfully though, since I don't really, it would be great to get the memory back and everything. I feel like talking to me is going to be wasted.
Oh, well, you can still get something out of this. Just because I can get some closure more easily than you can doesn't mean that you shouldn't at least try. You know that they exist now, so wouldn't you need to see them to make sure that you can do what you need to?
I guess at least for them as well. Obviously, Marsha, you're right there. I don't know why I'm acting like you're not physically laying there. I guess maybe for her as well, too. Might not be a bad idea for her to at least find out that I wasn't dead or abandoned anyone. I was just stuck in a random cave for a very long time.
I had kind of hoped you were dead. Yeah.
I don't blame you for that.
Alternative was you left me, so I kind of hoped you would. Yeah.
No, I think that's a chip off the old block right there. I would have thought the same thing. You really are my child.
Oh, should I tell you about your grandchildren and your great grandchildren?
What?
Do you want? We have a family reunion every year at Karmic Hills.
I'm sorry, what?
I could bring you next time. That'd be fun. You look kind of like some of them.
I've been there. I fought a gigantic crab there.
Whoa, no way. You were the one who... Wait. 2 of them died during that.
Well, not fighting the crab. There was a plague going on because someone was trying to resurrect the giant crab.
You were the inept adventurers who let 2 of my grandchildren die. Oh, yeah. Hey, Dad. You're right. It is you. Nice for you to be back.
Honda just raises his hand. I just want to say that wasn't me.
Yeah, I think I'll give your information to Mom. And then that fracture that you had coming, it's because 2 of her great-great-great-great-grandchildren died when you messed up defending that town. Oh, I heard the story, she says. Okay, well, you know how to find your way to the annual family reunion on your own. You've been there. So, Honda.
Well, all right then. Speedy recovery to you then, and then.
Nice to meet you, sperm donor. Bye.
Honda will do both of them a bit of a solid and put the contact information for the Fire Breathing Kittens Guild Hall. So if Honda's not around when there's any information sent, maybe Zidane can go and take advantage of that. Bros gotta be bros, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Son will leave the room.
Yikes. I don't think your daughter likes you very much.
That's fair. I kind of deserved it.
All right. That was the fracture as predicted in part 1. Now, for the very last scene, Featherbottom hires Bill as a privateer.
Yes.
So is she coming to Bill or is Bill going to her? Did she write him a letter and invite him? How does this work?
I did not write you a letter, so I think she's going to have to come find you.
I will set the scene as the facilitator. So Lady Featherbottom owns a townhouse, and Bill is 4 inches tall. He's been exploring his brand new tininess, and he's out in the yard, and Lady Featherbottom is sitting in her garden, and she's counting her gnomes. There's a gnome statue that she recently bought that she just loves. I mean, that one's the prettiest. And then there's a gnome statue that... Go ahead and describe the gnome statues in your yard, Lady Featherbottom.
One of them is a very classic, red and blue gnome type of thing. But the others are all a little more fantastic, and could best be described more as lawn gargoyles. So there's one that literally looks like a gargoyle. So it's all stone and snarling face and everything. And then she has one that looks a little bit more like a pixie. It's painted with pinks and purples and has dragonfly wings on it. They're still made of stone though, or plaster, right? And then there's this odd looking one that looks a little bit like a stone golem. And then, oh wait, that's not one she bought.
It moves.
Hello, Lady Featherbottom. And Bill takes off his flower and grows back to 7 feet tall again.
So she kind of rears back when you do that because, she was about to lean forward to try to inspect what this new creature is in her garden. And now you're trampling on her petunias. So thanks for that. Yes. Right.
I'm sorry about your petunias. I was just trying to experience the world as if I was small. I have always been this size except for like a couple hours one time when I got shrunk down, but I was never really small before, and it is an interesting perspective.
And do you prefer to be small or tall?
I think it would depend on the situation. I did pretend to be a gnome, and that was a great deal of fun. It made your yard look very fancy. But I also like to be big, because I can do more things.
Yes, like intimidate people and steal their things.
I don't steal things, and if I intimidate, it is totally by accident. I did not ask to be 7 feet tall. I was created this way.
So you're saying that you have never engaged in banditry?
Not on purpose.
Then how do you answer the accusations that you were in fact a bandit back in Hardingwood? Hardingwood.
I was tricked. I was created with the purpose of being a hero, and I did not know what that was, and I still do not. Have you ever been asked to do something that you do not understand? I asked for help. I asked people to show me what was heroic, and Alec Brome was very convincing that what we were doing was right. So I believed I was a hero until I saw him hurt people, and then I hurt the people that hurt those people, and they won't hurt anyone ever again.
I see. Well, from my understanding, you were a more than competent bandit, and I've come to understand there's something known as privateering. Are you familiar with this concept?
Passably. It is a pirate.
Well, not exactly. It is a pirate that operates under the auspices of a official entity, such as a town, or a city, or a country.
So, like, a legal pirate.
Exactly. Now, Hardingwood has less need of a privateer, but mercenaries to protect our town could be something worthwhile.
Well, my goal is to protect the town. It was what I was made for.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's what I've heard. But I think that if you came to work for the town, we could make use of your stature and now ability to not have such great stature to perhaps learn things as well. And there could be decent pay for you in it. I feel like that paycheck may help keep you honest.
I believe I have found people who will teach me what being a hero means. And I know that taking money for doing things like fighting people and taking things is not always heroic. So perhaps one day I will do that, but I still feel like I have a lot to learn from the fire-breathing kittens on what it means to be a hero.
Well, I think the fire-breathing kittens may have a lot to learn about what it means to be a hero as well, but I will accept your no.
You know, there's a rumor that fire-breathing kittens hires like monsters, and it's not trustworthy. You could use that to impact the story right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that rumor wasn't
that didn't get spread.
though.
That didn't get spread.
That wasn't spread,
okay.
yeah.
Ha 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 ha. Must protect our reputation.
Oh, but was the one from Zidane, a hired killer, was hired to kill Kaysen? Was that ever tagged?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that was spread.
But he
That was
never...
tagged.
Was he ever publicly outed as being part of the FBK?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's fine.
Well, I won't learn from him.
Well,
So Bill thanks her for the invitation and shrinks back down and goes back to exploring the world as a teeny tiny statue man.
and
Do
she
you
gives
mind
you.
if I hide in your garden and pretend to be a gnome for a while?
I suppose not. Do be careful of drains.
I will. I don't know how to swim.
Oh boy.
And as she gets
next
up and
adventure.
as she gets up and starts heading back into her house, she says, "Well, every boat does need an anchor."
Is that the scene?
That's the scene.
That's the scene.
All right. Does anybody have anything they'd like to do before we end the session?
I'm pretty happy with how things are turning out for Mary, at least.
Yeah, let's just say the major changes that happened to our characters in this game before we wrap up. Mary doesn't have any magic anymore because Obsidiana has it.
Yeah.
She's not getting married.
No.
Zidane officially met his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
They're fractured. Yeah. Kind of makes sense. Nugh met one of the people who loved one of the people he's made of.
Tragic.
Indeed.
Okay.
And Bill, you've gained the power to shrink.
Yes.
So only one good thing happened.
No. Nugh is on the way to becoming a very, very popular published poet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's
True.
true.
Yes. Okay.
And also
two
there is-
positive things.
There is a general idea out there among high society that Bill is a murderer and a pirate, and so there's that too.
And a mercenary.
And a mercenary, yeah.
Let's do the big reveal. Everybody, what was your goal this session for your major character, and did you achieve it or not? Or we don't even have to. Just say your goal. We all know if you achieved it or not. Just go around in a circle.
My goal was to come into substantial wealth while ensuring my reputation stayed absolutely impeccable. Truly the meaning of role playing.
My goal was to know more about myself and the world.
Yeah.
My goal is restore my family's name and resume my place in society, which was, make people think I'm a hero and resume my place, and that didn't work.
And mine was to turn my enemies' connections against them.
You did
No,
ruin
that didn't happen.
You did ruin his plan to find a marriage candidate for his son.
Yeah.
I did, yeah, because I did try to murder him.
Like you do.
Like you do.
Yeah, as one does.
Joining us on this adventure, right? Anybody else have anything else they want to do before we sign off?
I would like to say that Obsidiana would have used the rumor tag about the prodigy child to escape if Mary had ever come looking for her. So,
Oh, yeah. You were invited along on a family's day trip out of town.
yeah, bye.
Forever.
Running away with your magic.
Joining us for this adventure were Nugh's player, Bill's player,
I still hope I can be a hero one day.
Mary's player,
Well, no riches and money, perhaps, but revenge is also sweet.
and Zidane's player.
Well, I know where Kazan is now. I will find him, and I will kill him.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
It's that part of the show where we tell you about a podcast you might enjoy. Have you heard of One Shot's Tavern? One Shot's Tavern is a tabletop role-playing game podcast dedicated to learning new ways to tell stories through different tabletop role-playing games, from big to small. Check out One Shot's Tavern, a podcast.